course. Here he is.
But I mean, I guess if he's playing
We're driving cars on a Mars tonight. We're blasting off to the stars tonight. We wanna go, go. We wanna go,
Good morning and welcome live to Brisbane Airport, wherever you are tuning in around the world. It might be morning, it might be afternoon, it might be evening, but over the next 2 hours we are going to give you a front row seat as Delta Airlines flight DL93 makes its debut into Queensland. It's going to be a big day. I have with me my co-host Liz Cantor. Liz is the weather presenter on Channel 10 locally. She's a lifestyle presenter on Channel 7. She's a former reality TV star. She's also a former pro surfer and a world traveller. Welcome to this live stream.
Thank you so much for having me, Pete. I am no aviation expert, so I'm very honoured to be in this company. And what a setup you have here. I wanted to ask, is this unique to Brisbane Airport, or does this kind of thing happen
No,
elsewhere?
this is totally unique. So we'll show you the mega wall just to show you all the cameras we have. We have 7 cameras around the airport. These are just 4 of them. 2 of them are very special. One is particularly special. We are bringing back Runway-Cam, live Runway-Cam. So what we've done is we've taken a camera that's normally on top of a helicopter that would be filming live sport or reality TV shows or documentaries. And we've put it on top of one of our airside safety vehicles, which has full approval to safely operate on our taxiways. And so what you're seeing right now is live Runway-Cam. So over the next couple of hours, it is literally going to float around our airport. It's a glorious shot. And what we're going to do is give you a behind the scenes, front of the scenes tour of the airport. And of course, when we do get to DL93 landing, it's going to give you an absolute front row window seat. I promise you it will be quite glorious. Now, I just need to set the scene. It's morning here in Brisbane, so the local time is 5:38. We are coming up, and that's a shot there of Runway-Cam. So you can see that giant ball-mounted gyro lens, which you would normally find on a helicopter. This one is actually, we've taken it off a helicopter and we've put it on an airside safety car. Not just any car, by the way. That's a Ford 150 Lightning electric vehicle. This is the first one to be deployed into an airside safety role anywhere in the world. But to come back to your first question, Liz, no airport is doing a broadcast like this in the world. We're so over the moon to be able to bring viewers into our backyard and give them that front row seat. So that's Runway-Cam, the star of the show. Let's check where this flight is at. DL93, it left, let's see, 12 hours, 16 minutes ago. You can see on the right-hand bottom of your screen, it's travelled 10,348 kilometres across the Pacific overnight. It's still got 1,220 Ks to go, and you can see it will touch down in 1 hour and 45 minutes. So for us, Liz, that means we've got 1 hour and 45 minutes to give a great tour of the airport before we experience that magic. And we should talk about the special plane that is touching down. And Delta have gone all out this morning. So they have given this inaugural flight a very special aircraft. It is the LA Olympic 28 special livery aircraft. This aircraft has played a very special role in Los Angeles and the United States Olympic bid already. So it took the US Dream Team, the American team, all the way to the Olympics in Paris. And then it brought the Olympic flag back to Los Angeles for the first time in 40 years. And Los Angeles is a very special city. It's going to be one of the only cities to host the Olympics 3 times. There's only a couple of those cities. So today we have a special moment because we'll have the LA 28 plane touching down in the city of the Brisbane 2032 Olympics. So 2 consecutive sequential host Olympic cities, and we're going to see it here in our backyard.
Yeah, absolutely. Very special. And we could not have put on a better day. You mentioned that I present the weather for Channel 10, so I'm thrilled that we have light winds and sunshine today. I had a look at the temperatures comparatively. So in Brisbane, we've got 22 degrees to 29. Those that have Fahrenheit, that's 72 to 84. Currently, it's 22 degrees. In LA, it's 11 degrees to 16, and then 61 Fahrenheit to 51. Currently in LAX, it's 59 Fahrenheit. So a lot cooler in Los Angeles at the moment. Brisbane's nice and warm. And then I mentioned a top of 29 here in Brisbane, but it feels a lot hotter than 29 degrees, Pete. And that's because of the high humidity today. We're just going into, we are a couple of days into summer. Already here in Queensland, it's starting to have that tropical feel. So as those guests step off the aircraft today, they will feel that moisture and humidity in the air, I'm sure.
And you mentioned tropical. Lots of those Virgin flights will be heading to the north of the state, Cairns, Townsville, some of those really hot tropical regions. Brisbane is the most connected domestic airport in the country. So there are planes leaving to around 62 different destinations around Australia. And Queensland, for those who are watching, and look, we'll have people watching from all over the planet for sure, and lots of people in North America tuning in. And g'day, and let us know in the group chat where you're from, where you're watching from. Tell us, and we'll get to those comments soon. But Queensland is a tourism state. Tourism is its bread and butter. It's got the Great Barrier Reef. It's got so many natural assets. And so that's why this airport is a major hub for people travelling from overseas. And you can see that QantasLink aircraft. There are so many aircraft flying to smaller regional destinations around Queensland. And that's what makes Queensland a bit different to all the other states. We have so many regional cities and towns.
Yeah, I was going to say everyone knows about the Great Barrier Reef. But for me, working on programs like Weekender on Channel 7, I've been lucky enough to see a huge part of Queensland. I love the Outback. I think the Outback is overlooked as an experience quite regularly. Going to red dirt country and immersing yourself in places like Longreach where they still have dinosaur fossils. How exciting is that if you have children or if you're a big kid yourself to go and see actual dinosaur fossils, or to go down into the southwest corner, little towns like Quilpie, Thargomindah, and actually see how those true blue Aussies live in the Outback is fascinating.
So what we're going to see over the next hour is actually rush hour at Brisbane Airport, and quite interestingly, our busiest times of the entire week for domestic travel are Monday and Friday morning. And it's quite interesting, there are a large amount of people who come to work on a Monday morning and fly to mine sites around regional Queensland, and Friday also sees a number of shift changes. So Friday is very busy. Look at that Runway-Cam. You can see that lens. That camera on top is actually, I'll let you in a little secret, it's about $500,000 Australian. So they're going to take really good care of it. That's Adrian behind the wheel. He is our most experienced airside safety officer. In the car, we also have Anthony, who's driving the lens. He's choosing what pictures you're seeing. And we have Greg Burke, our fleet manager, in the front seat. And Greg's actually been responsible for electrifying a large amount of our fleet. So that team right there, a big shout out. They've worked their bums off to get that camera safely and securely onto that Lightning, and it's going to give us a front row seat over the next couple of hours, and that is totally unique. No one else has put a lens like that live in an airport environment, and I'm extremely grateful for the team who've worked really hard to make it happen.
Great job, team. I want to say a good morning from Brisbane to a few people who are joining us online. NJ Aviation says hello from England. We've got Peter Casey, Aaron Lucas, Jaden, Gabriel. Thanks for joining us. Aviation team's got a question for you, Pete Doherty. Is this the first time a Delta A350 has been scheduled to Brisbane?
So this is the first time we've ever had any commercial flight from Delta scheduled to Brisbane. So today is the start. They are commencing with a seasonal service over the next few months to Brisbane.
Once they get a taste.
Once they get a taste, we hope they'll stay.
Yes.
So look, that's, we're working hard to fill those seats. But this is the first time Delta has entered this market. And look, for any airline to enter a new market is a big deal. And probably in about a half an hour, we're going to have one of Delta's senior executives drop by and join us here at the hosting position. You can see the latest positioning of that flight, 1,138 kilometres to go, only an hour and a half. But we'll get to talk to one of those Delta executives. We'll get to ask him all the questions and find out what it takes to launch a new flight. And it's a big investment for an airline. They've got to train local staff. And the bigger issue is the world has a shortage of aircraft. So we encounter this in talking to airlines all the time. They say, yeah, we'd love to come to Brisbane, but we're still waiting on our deliveries from the Boeing factory, from the Airbus factory. There is a global shortage of aircraft. There's also a global shortage of pilots. So for an airline to commit an aircraft to Brisbane, that means they're showing a lot of confidence and they're investing millions of dollars in that. So yes, it is the first time Delta has flown a scheduled passenger service to Brisbane, and we hope there'll be many more to come.
Fantastic. Hello to Bo Herbert from the sunny coast, Queensland. So we've got someone joining us from Dallas, Texas, USA as well.
G'day to Just Plains Crazy. Thanks for joining us from Dallas. And of course, from Dallas, we've got that American Airlines flighting as well. The American Airlines 7879 is landing in 5. Oh, okay.
Is that here or elsewhere?
Yeah, no, that'll be here. So thank you for keeping us honest. And guys, what I love about the group chat in this is you guys are the experts. So hands down, we are not the experts. Let's say it right there. You are the experts. The aviation community around the world, you are the experts. So we are happy for you to keep us honest. If there's a plane coming in, we don't know about it, or if we don't know the background, keep us honest. If we stuff up and say something, the thing I love about the internet, you're only wrong for 5 seconds because someone's going to correct you. So we're not precious, guys. Hit us up here, and as long as you don't say anything about my hairstyle, I'll be okay. So thanks for giving us that heads up, and we'll be looking for those aircraft. And as I say, it's a really busy time Friday morning. If you're travelling domestically, that terminal is pumping right now.
Now, you've just gotten back from domestic travel, Pete. Tell us about that.
Yeah, so I've had 2 sensational weeks in Tasmania. So for those elsewhere in the world, check out the map. Tasmania is a state to the south of the mainland, and it's a wonderful, we actually went and did an 8-day wilderness hike where a small plane dumped us in the middle of the wilderness.
We is you and your wife.
Yeah, and we had 8 days and all our provisions on our back to walk out, and the good thing was the mobile phone did not work one bit over those 9 days. So that was really quite enjoyable as we see some of those morning flights getting ready to get out of Brisbane. So yeah, Tassie really turned it on.
Highlight of the trip, I know you're juggling a few things, but 8 days in the wilderness, is there a moment that you just have to share from that?
Look,
and Tasmania is
I can safely
wild.
share it in this forum. The most exciting part was the plane ride into the destination. So there's a tiny airline in Tasmania called Par Avion, which is a beautiful. Remember on your stamp it used to say Par Avion by airmail, by plane. So Par Avion is a tiny little airline in Tasmania that flies out of Cambridge Airport, and literally the only passengers on the plane were my wife and I and our packs, so it's a really small plane, and it dumped us into a runway that was cut by a man by hand in 1950s at a little place called Melaleuca. So it's a really small dirt strip, and that's where they dumped us and we walked out. So for me, the highlight was actually getting to it. The struggling out through the wilderness was actually the hard bits, not surprisingly.
That sounds absolutely fabulous. On the screen at the moment, we've got another Virgin.
Yeah, so we'll go off that screen there because that one's in delay, but you're right. It is rush hour here this morning as those flights, and I'll bring up the tracker so we see where those flights are heading, and that way we can give you a bit more intel and a bit more insight. But of course, DL93 is the flight we're tracking, and it will be really interesting to see it climb up the list of Flight Radar's most tracked flights today. And The communications director for
Just
Flight
to confirm,
Radar sent me
you
an
are
email a half an hour ago, and he's expecting this flight to make it to the top of the most watch list. And that's simply because, A, it's a new route. Secondly, it is that special livery aircraft. And thirdly, doing a live stream like we are right now will be raising lots of interest as we see lots of great shots out there from on the field. Liz, we should also point out there's lots of people starting to gather on the car park around us with their cameras. There are two major plane spotting spots. One is out by what we call the Loop, and there's lots of people out there with their cameras, and there's lots of people up here at the car park of all ages because they love to see something new.
I love this. What you can't see is just to the side of me. We would have 3 or 4 boys that look at mid-teens. How old are you guys? 13, and they're up here with their cameras, just, that passion for aviation.
Now, we mentioned
shooting
someone
aircrafts.
from Dallas before. Landing right now on screen is that American Airlines flight from Dallas-Fort Worth. It's a brand new service that only launched about 4 or 5 weeks ago. You can see it touching down there. Interestingly, it is the longest route operated by American Airlines. It's also the longest route in the Brisbane Airport network. It previously was the Emirates flight to Dubai, and now that flight from, that's a spectacular shot, that flight from Dallas is the longest flight in Brisbane, and it's proving very popular because it connects throughout North America, Central America and South America. So good morning and welcome to American Airlines AAL7, a great service with lots of tourists inbound. And what we're seeing is lots of American Airlines, lots of United States, North American-based airlines coming to Brisbane. So as of today, there are now 5 carriers flying to Brisbane, 31 flights a week to North America, to 4 hubs in America. So what that means is a record number of seats across the Pacific. So it's a really good time now to fly to North America because prices are coming down.
I saw it on the screens, but then it actually caught my breath because I saw it in real life cruising past, and you see that red and royal blue and that American Airlines, and you think, hang on a second, where am I? Is this Brisbane or Vegas?
There you go. So just to put people in the picture, we are on the level 9 of the car park, so we actually have a pretty good view over both runways. Brisbane Airport has 2 parallel runways, so one on the left, one on the right, and we are smack bang in the middle. So not only are we seeing the pictures from our 7 cameras around the airport, but we're also seeing the great shots. There's the mega wall showing you just 4 of our 7 cameras located around the airport. And but we've also got a pretty good view up here, and we've also got a spectacular sunrise smashing us in the face, making it very hard to see the screens right now.
We do. I mentioned it's pretty warm here today. We are, 6 days into summer. Joining us online, I've just seen we've got people from Brazil. Papo, I hope I pronounced your name right. Raza, good morning. Thank you so much for joining us. We've also got families from Newcastle here in Australia watching as well. So any questions that you would like me to direct at Pete Doherty? He, is so passionate about aviation, and he'd love to share his information with you. I am very new to learning about this industry, and I can't believe the wealth of knowledge that is out there. I said to Pete yesterday as we were setting up for this cross, it's been quite interesting because you don't realise that this world exists out there. You hear about plane spotters and you hear about these people that are so passionate about aviation, but to step inside and to see your inside knowledge, that you live and breathe it, that you're committed to broadcast and joining moments like this to watch an inaugural flight. It's really, really special. So it's nice to meet the community. Thanks very much for welcoming us. A little bit about myself. My name's Liz. I'm a weather presenter here in Brisbane. But prior to my work in weather, I was actually a competitive surfer. So my greatest period of travel was in my early 20s. I was sponsored by a company called Billabong Australia. It's a surf brand here, and I was fortunate enough to travel the world on the World Qualifying Series. So that took me to places such as Cornwall in the UK. Hello to everyone that are joining us from England. Hawaii, of course, the mecca of surf. Tahiti, was lucky enough to go to Chopu and see that incredible wave. Fiji. So that was my years of travel, and I was really fortunate that I got that experience to see so much of the world, but also to experience so many different aircrafts and rack up those miles. Since that time, I have now, moved into television. I'm kind of anchored here in Brisbane, but work for a travel show which takes me around the state fairly often. But I also have 3 children, so my travel has really slowed down in the last 7 years. My eldest is 7, my youngest is 2. And of course, also with COVID as well, I really feel like travel's slowed down for myself and a lot of the states. So it's really exciting to step back in to this and to feel the energy and excitement of travel. I have to admit, when I turned up at the airport this morning, you have all those excitements and those butterflies in the belly, and I thought, I'm only going to the 9th floor of the car park, but I feel like I'm about to travel somewhere in the world. But I am traveling somewhere in the world, and that's with you guys who are joining us online internationally.
Liz, you've been overseas recently, haven't you?
I have. So I mentioned that travel slowed down for me lately. I was reintroduced to travelling overseas just a week ago, and it was a heck of a flight. So one of the longest flights you can do from Brisbane is Brisbane to Dubai. I, as I mentioned, have 3 children. I had to go over to be a bridesmaid at a best friend's wedding. So I was there for a short period of time, just 3 days in Dubai, but 6 days of travel. I flew directly from Brisbane to Dubai. I came home through Singapore. So Dubai, Singapore, Brisbane.
And were you down the back of the plane or up the front?
I knew he was going to ask this. I feel really awkward, but I will share this story because it was an incredible opportunity, and this isn't common for me. So because I hadn't done much travel in so long, as I mentioned, 2-year-old at home, 3 kids, COVID, traveling really grounded for me. I bought a flight using accumulated points through my credit card. I'm a Qantas frequent flyer. They are also connected partner airline Emirates. And when I was looking for points flights online, guess what popped up? No business class options, but a first class option at a really reasonable price with points. I couldn't believe my luck, and I spoke to my husband and he was like, do it. This is your first time flying in how many years since having the children. This will be your welcome back. You've only got 3 days in Dubai. Make sure you get some sleep on the way over there. So it was an experience and a half. You arrive at Brisbane Airport, you go into the lounge, you actually board onto the aircraft directly from the lounge.
Now, Liz is not kidding. So Brisbane Airport is very unique in the world in terms of the Emirates lounge. You literally step out of the lounge onto the plane. So it's a very unique setup, one of the only airports in the world that's got it. I think we were the first outside of Dubai to have that experience, and it is very unique. You go up there, you eat all the food, you enjoy the wine, and then when it's boarding time, you step from the lounge into the aircraft. So I'm glad you got to experience that. I never have. I'm glad you did.
It almost felt like your own private plane because you barely see another person. You step from the lounge onto this small cabin of 6. You have that stuff, you step off. So it felt like I was on a tiny, intimate plane.
Now, if you've just joined us, we are here broadcasting live because Delta Airlines is going to touch down in Brisbane for the first time. We have been tracking it. Look, only 960 kilometres to go. It was much higher when we got on air. 1 hour and 26 minutes until that A350-900 touches down, that very special LA28 Olympic livery, and we'll see Delta in town for the first time. Very exciting. Brisbane Airport last year had 22.6 million passengers spread between our domestic and international terminals. This coming year is going to be far higher, and that's thanks to the many new routes, the many new airlines who have come to Brisbane, because all of a sudden Brisbane is the flavour of the month worldwide. And you know what? One of the things that's had a lot to do with that is our animated TV series that's based here in Brisbane. It's set in Brisbane, and it's called Bluey, and it is the #1 streamed program in the United States. Across the airport last night, new billboards went up everywhere, and as you come out of the terminal, the first thing you see, it says, "Welcome to the home of Bluey." So those signs are everywhere, and Bluey's world is about 10 minutes from the airport, and that's an immersive Bluey experience, which people can now enjoy. Now, this is a pinch me moment because Liz Cantor, our co-host here, has actually been a voice-over person in the Bluey TV show. That makes you flipping famous in my books. Tell me
For real life.
For
Pete,
real life.
For real life.
Tell me what role you played and unpack the story of what that was like to be a voice artist on Bluey and what your kids think of it. Tell me the whole story.
Yeah, I will safely say, without offending Channel 10 or Channel 7, that it was my career highlight because I finally became a cool mum to my 3 children, but also my 3 nieces live in Los Angeles. So my husband's brother, Daniel, moved over to the States, went to Berkeley. He was a swimmer, now lives in California with his wife, Paige. They have 3 daughters, obsessed with Bluey. So I've seen that, Bluey goes internationally. So I was invited in by Joe Brum, one of the creators of Bluey, to have a small cameo role. I played a weather presenting pup. It was a bit of a
weather dog.
Weather dog. A weather presenting pup with the lines are, "G'day everyone and thanks for watching." The full Aussie ochre voice that I had to get rid of when I went into the mainstream networks. I had to learn to say water, not water. So growing up in Queensland at your coastal towns, being a surfer girl, it was all water and, we're the laziest talkers here in Queensland. I've had to correct that for my professional weather job, but I got to undo it for Bluey.
So give me your full lines on Bluey.
Oh, gee whiz. Well, do you know, I'm not sure if I'm allowed to reveal this, so this is a little bit of an exclusive for all you online today. I filmed that. My daughter's 2. I was pregnant with her. Recorded it 2 years ago. That's their backlog of episodes.
So that's how long it takes to make craft and get it out 2 years ago?
Yes. Yep. So that's the process, and that's what they have in creation, and the delay from creating it, building it, and putting it to screen is about 2 years.
So give me your lines again.
G'day everyone and thanks for watching this evening, or it's today, sunshine, a top of 29. It's going to be a lot humid though, where northeasterly winds, I honestly can't remember, so but it was something along those lines, and it was an episode called Block Towers. The concept was that the kids have built block towers in front of the TV and the grandparents are trying to watch the television around the block towers, and you don't knock the block towers. When the kids have built blocks, you don't knock them, do you, Pete?
Well, that's a great story to share. And of course, the unique thing about Bluey is that if you watch the TV show and then you come to Brisbane, everything you see on the TV show is around you. So all the landmarks in Brisbane, the parks, 2 cool things. This airport features in Bluey. So there's an aircraft terminal, which is our international terminal. It looks exactly like our international terminal, because it is. And this is the cool thing. Bluey's mum, her job Chili's job in the TV show is working in aviation security in our terminal. So fair dinkum,
cool.
Chili works in our international terminal where this Delta Airlines flight is going to pull up today. The terminal appears in the TV show, and now for real life we have with us one of the voices of Bluey. And look, if anyone wants to check out that episode, do you know which episode it is?
Yeah, Block Towers.
Okay.
In the latest season. So.
And do your kids think that's cool, or what age are your kids?
Yeah, they finally thought it was cool. So 2, 6 and 7. Part of the reason that this eventuated and that I got this role on Bluey was because I was watching the show because my children love it so much. There's an episode called Rain. It's such a unique episode of television. There is no dialogue for the entire episode. It is so moving and so beautiful. After watching it as making dinner for the kids, I found myself stopping what I was doing and being drawn to the TV. We got something happening, Pete?
No, I'm just going to say some of the people online are asking, are there many people at the plane spotting area down at the Loop? We'll effort to get a shot of that in a moment, and we'll bring you that live. And that's the cool thing. If there's something you want to see, folks, drop it into the chat. Also, we haven't done a shout out, but please hit that like button. Let's get that like button through the roof. It's currently sitting at 130. Let's get it to 350 in honour of the A350, which is coming. So hit that, and then we'll keep on going. And if you look right now, you will see the plane spotting area. So that's the area that we call the Loop. It is chock-a-block today, not surprisingly, because there's this new flight coming to town. And also the car park up here is chock-a-block with people with their lenses. They're giving us a wave right now. And the thing I like, it's all ages. There's a mum, there's a dad, there's their son, or maybe it's just a child they've borrowed, I'm not sure.
No, there's a resemblance.
There's
there.
a resemblance there.
A child.
If you want to come over and talk to us for 2 seconds, come over here and we'll say good day on air. But
Come on
really,
in.
this is an event not just for us, but for the whole community. Jump in here. We haven't set this up, so anything could happen.
We've got
a guest microphone.
And
there
I'm
you
going
go.
to ask you first and foremost, what's your name, what's your age, and where are you from?
Okay,
What's your name?
I'm Pat.
And where are you from?
I'm from Brisbane.
Why have you come to the airport today?
To see Delta,
Yeah. Why is that cool?
because it's the inaugural flight.
I'm guessing you probably know a bit about planes. Tell me a bit about the plane.
It's an A350-900 from LA.
And anything unique about the A350? Tell us why it's a good plane.
It's a nice long-range airliner.
Cool. You strike me as someone who might have a future in aviation. Am I right? What's
Yeah.
your plans?
I don't know, something to do with aviation.
Well,
What was your age?
12.
I just love seeing the passion and seeing these kids join us up here today with this excitement and future ahead of them in aviation. Good on you. Thanks for coming and spending the morning with us.
have a great morning. Get some good photos. Thank you so much for joining us here on the live stream.
It's so cool.
That was completely random. We will have other guests, including the Vice President of Delta Asia Pacific, who has just arrived. He's grabbing a coffee and he will join us shortly. But how cool. And one thing very unique about Brisbane is that we have a number of high schools around the city where you can go there and it's a specialised aviation school. So 5 minutes from here is Aviation High, and you can go and do your entire senior schooling, but you can also do specialist units for a pathway into aviation. And we host many of those students here at Brisbane Airport, and I can tell you when they finish year 12, they are all gobbled up into all sorts of pathways into the aviation industry. It could be an airline. We have on the airport here an organisation called Aviation Australia, and there you can go to learn how to repair an aircraft, avionics, all the roles around aviation. It has a great female program called FAME, and it's targeting women to try and get more women into the industry. But it's those pathways through the local aviation schools that mean people are all of a sudden working in jobs out here on the airfield. So that's a really exciting thing.
And as a mother of three, the world is changing so rapidly at the moment. Technology is changing so rapidly. I find myself thinking, what jobs will they do later in life? Because so many of the jobs we aspire to do, they're almost becoming redundant, or there's a real shift in what safe, productive career opportunities are these days. Aviation is going nowhere. Aviation is a choice that you would be thrilled for your children to lean into.
Absolutely, and I have one child who's working in the aviation world, and another that's Zach. A quick shout out, and another. I've got a daughter who's working for Brookie Cookies, which for anyone around the world, this is a viral sensation. It started just over a year ago. A woman called Brookie started baking in a store in Fortitude Valley, and thanks to TikTok, her cookies have gone nuts. She is exporting them around the world every day. She's currently in the Middle East doing a pop-up store which will open tomorrow. But here's the cool thing. Brookie, about 3 months ago, set up a store in our domestic terminal, and every single day there are lines through our terminal as people queue up to get their pink bags of Brookie cookies. On the day the store was to open, she was there the night before setting up. I was to meet her at 6 a.m. to film the store opening, and I got there and there's no Brookie. It's like, that's completely weird. She was in labour. She gave birth to her first baby the morning her first store opened here at Brisbane Airport. Brookie is on an incredible ride, and we're just delighted to see our little airport store playing a role in that, because these things sell like hotcakes.
Oh, they are so good. I have tried them myself. Let's see who else is joining us online. We've got Maria, Michael, shout out to Rinesh. Do we know what runway the Delta is landing on, Pete?
That is the $1 million question. So as you read that to me, I'm typing that to someone because let's put it up there. Brisbane Airport, that's us. We do not select which runway the plane lands on. That's the guys and the girls up in the tower, air traffic control at Air Services Australia, and they make that decision based on weather, based on movements of other aircraft. So I'm firing off a message right now to get that answer, because not only do we need to know the answer so that our cameras are in the right spot, but also our plane spotters need to know which side of the airport to be to get that. So we'll come back with an answer real soon.
My Flight Journal, I've seen your message. When you get here in 5 minutes, come and chat to me. We're going to have a talk about your request. I will make it happen. Now, there are 2 runways here at Brisbane Airport, as Pete established. One gives us a long taxi in, the other gives us a shorter taxi in. What's your preference when you land, Pete?
Look, today, I hope it lands on the new runway because it will give us more time to see the incredible livery on the side of that aircraft. And I'm going to give you a few hints of some of the things to look at on this aircraft when it arrives, that LA-28 aircraft. On the back of it, it has the letters LA-28, obviously, simple for the LA Olympics. On the side, it has 3 palm trees, and each palm tree represents a different Olympics, because LA has hosted this event, will have hosted this event 3 times by the time we get to 2028. It was actually, the livery for this aircraft was actually designed by someone called Kelly Fitzgerald from Delta, and I've been chatting her with this week online, and these are the words she said. The inspiration of this aircraft was honestly Los Angeles itself. You'll see a nice sunset gradient that uses the Olympic gold, the Delta red, the Delta blue, and that pulls it all together, as well as the palm trees, each representing the Olympic and Paralympic Games held in Los Angeles. So that's the words from Kelly Fitzgerald. Her artwork is now this giant billboard that's flying around the world promoting the LA-28 Games. And today it touches down in the city of the 2032 Olympics. And look, that's something we have. That's something we haven't unpacked. So I was actually at the Tokyo Olympics in my former role for Channel 7, and while I was there in 2021, Brisbane was awarded the Olympic and Paralympic Games for 2032. And that has put this city on a growth trajectory because there are people discovering about Brisbane. There are airlines tapping into Brisbane simply because of the publicity and the notoriety that's come with it being named a host city. So, you think of the cities in order: Paris, Los Angeles, Brisbane. And, 2 of those cities are well known, 1 isn't. Let's be honest, Brisbane is not well known globally. There would be people watching our live stream who would not know about us until Brisbane was named the 2032 host city. Now on screen, we need to talk about this. We'll come back to the Olympics later. Is a 747. 747s are a bit of a rare beast at Brisbane Airport. This one is very rare. It has been coming in once a week from Hong Kong for about the last 5 or 6 weeks. And you know what it's filled with?
What?
Christmas presents. So everybody online shopping.
So the 747-400 pushback.
Yep. So that's that aircraft. It's pushing back. It's standing by to take off, and we'll bring that to you live. So each week it is basically bringing to Brisbane all those items that people are online shopping for, electronics, fashion. I bet you like a bit of online shopping. It will be here again next week, and it is delivering presents. So I know Santa gets around in a sleigh. At the moment, he's got some of his helpers using this 747. It will take off shortly, and it is flying to Hong Kong. It will be back next week with another load of deliveries. Brisbane is a little bit unique. Unlike Sydney or Melbourne, we do not have dedicated international freighters that fly in and out of Brisbane. So every day, the freight that comes in and out is in the belly of passenger aircraft, right? So not dedicated freighters, but in passenger aircraft. So that flight that you went to Dubai on, or any other international flight, you've got passengers are up top, but they're filling the cargo holds with tons of Queensland exports that go overseas. So that's why those flights are particularly important. So if you're a Queensland farmer producing high quality beef, I don't know if you've had a Wagyu steak, it's amazing steak. Those steaks are flying out in the belly of these passenger aircraft to overseas. Same for, we know the flight today will have Queensland chilled beef. It will have seafood that's been caught off the Sunshine Coast, and it will also have Queensland mangoes on board. So this Delta Airlines flight today, when it turns around to go back to Los Angeles, will have the taste of Queensland on board, because they're just some of the great produce that Queensland produces. But other flights won't just be taking our primary products, they'll also be taking manufactured goods that are created in Brisbane that are of demand exported worldwide, including equipment for the mining industry, of which Queensland has a big role. So there will be a lot of trade that happens, a lot of business that happens as a result of this new Delta flight, because it's simply adding more capacity into the system. We can see the pushback tug has finished its job of backing that 747 out, and in a moment it will be on its way, and we'll give you a spectacular front row seat of that 747 taking off. Let's check it back in quickly in a moment. We'll see where our Delta flight is, and on the radar there, making its way. Look, it's getting closer to Brisbane. Can't see the timing down there because the sun's in the way there, but we are closing in on that flight coming into Brisbane, and we're going to give you a front row seat, so it's really nice. But we're going to come back to that 747 in a moment, because we know viewers like seeing the 747. And let's pay tribute to that Queen of the Skies, that aircraft. So when it was introduced in the 1960s, it democratized air travel. It made air travel possible and cheap enough for millions of people worldwide. So really that's the flight that lots of people would have gone overseas for the very first time. It would have been a Qantas flight, perhaps, and as a result, that airline, when Qantas had to retire a 747, they parked one in a town called Longreach, which is the home of Qantas, and they flew it out there. Now, Longreach is a small town, a very small town with a very small runway.
I've got a fun fact for you.
Okay.
Nearby to Longreach is a town, Winton. The two brothers that created Bluey are from Winton. So where that aeroplane is, about hour drive away, is where the creators of Bluey grew up.
Okay, so Qantas decided we're going to park this 747 in the outback. We're never going to be able to take it off. So what they did is they stripped as much weight out of the aircraft. They stripped seats out. They made it minimum weight. Their pilots went into a simulator and practiced landing in Longreach time after time again. It's a very narrow strip, and either side there is red dirt. So on approach, they actually shut down the outboard, the engines on the tip of the wing, so it wouldn't ingest and suck up all that red dust. And the entire town of Longreach turned out to see that 747 land in Longreach. And now it's a tourist attraction. People come from around the world or across Australia to go to Longreach, to the Qantas Founders Outback Museum. You can do a wing walk, you can go inside the aircraft, you can crawl through it. And this is the really cool thing. When I was a reporter for 7 News, I actually did the story of that aircraft landing in Longreach. And my mum went to the museum 3 weeks ago. And as you walk into the museum, there's a news story playing on repeat. And it's my story showing the 747 landing. So if you think it's been playing on repeat for 20 years, I don't know how many millions of times that story's been played, but if you go to the Longreach Museum, Mum was very happy to walk in and hear her son on the TV covering that story of the 747 going into Longreach. But here we have the 747 about to take off and head out to Hong Kong. And as you can see, we have multiple cameras trained on that. I love the two-way boxes there giving you different aspects. You can see it close up there on the right, and Runway-Cam giving us a long shot. As we're going to have this from every view, which is really quite unique. And I have to thank our airside safety team, who have done a great job of getting our cameras safely out onto the airfield. They have enthusiastically backed this project because what I've discovered is that people who work at an airport love showing their airport off. You know what I mean? They've got so much pride in this amazing thing, and people are interested in airports, and that's why there are crowds around us. That's why there are crowds down at the loop, and so we're very happy with this live stream to be able to share it with people around the world. So if you like it, folks, please hit like, and please grab the link and share it with someone who you know who may enjoy this broadcast. Send them the link and say, guys, tune into this because very soon Delta Airlines will land in Brisbane.
We're trying to get 350 likes in honour of the A350. Pete mentioned that this aircraft you can see on your screens at the moment, very uniquely here in Queensland. There is one in a outback town called Longreach. So right here in Brisbane at the moment, it is a top of 22 out in Longreach. So 22 Fahrenheit is 84. Out in Longreach, the temperature for the last couple of days has been about 40 degrees, so that's 104 Fahrenheit. So that aircraft is sitting in the hit, just enjoying retirement in outback Queensland.
And the good thing is, and a shout out to the people out there, they have in the last few years put a roof over that 747 to give it some protection from the harsh outback sun. And at night, they do a show where they project onto the aircraft the story of the history of Qantas, and it is a magnificent show. It's a really unique experience in the outback, and I know for a fact there are people who come from overseas. They land at Brisbane and they jump on a small plane and go out to Longreach. I'm going to drop a name here. My first flight to Longreach, how cool is this, was on a chartered flight, a small plane. We hopped on board. The special guest was sitting in row one. I'll tell you who he was in a moment. We went down and sat down the back, and we took off. And then the crew came to us and said, "Excuse me, Peter," that's me, "Mr. Travolta would like to say hello to you now." So we flew in a private plane out to Longreach with John Travolta, who has to be the world's greatest, Qantas fan. And we took him out to the museum, had an hour tour of the museum, jumped back in the plane and came back to Brisbane with John Travolta. If we want to talk about highlights of career, that was a pretty cool one. Going to Longreach with John Travolta on board a plane. Pretty cool.
Yeah, absolutely. I think that might be up there with the story of the day. Pete.
No, we've got lots of stories of the day. That's to be fair.
Now, Bo Herbert Cummings, thanks for joining us online. He's asked if there's going to be a water salute. I don't believe there is today. Our water salutes here in Brisbane during December come from the sky usually. It is our rainy season, but look at today. Not a drop around us, a beautiful clear day. What kind of special treats are we putting on when this plane lands today, Pete?
Yeah, look, it's the passengers who we want to make feel really special when they get off this plane. So when they step off the aircraft, there will be someone playing a didgeridoo, giving a traditional type music welcome to those passengers. We're actually going to talk to him soon, coming up on the show. Now, each of the passengers is going to receive a bag when they come off the plane. And they're also going to receive one of these. Hold that up. There's this very cool Delta koala. It's got a Delta shirt with Delta on it. They'll get this bag. It says BNE to LAX. A big shout out to everyone at LAX Airport. Delta logo on the front. Now it's packed with goodies. Let's go through it. There's a certificate. It's the inaugural flight certificate presented in commemoration of the first flight on Delta Airlines Brisbane BNE to Los Angeles LAX, flight DL92, 6th of December 2024. And the cool thing is it's signed by Ed Bastian, the CEO of Delta Airlines, and we have to give a call out. The reason we have this special plane coming in is because Ed helped make that happen, as well as our airport CEO. They're good mates. They go back years through connections through JFK Airport. So shout out to Ed. Thank you for the certificate, and also thank you for giving us this plane. There is, that's our 100 years of Brisbane Airport pin. Something very cool. 2025, Delta Airlines turns 100 and Brisbane Airport turns 100. So next year, we both celebrate 100 years of history, but from today, we celebrate a future together.
And something I didn't realise, Pete, Brisbane Airport is older than LAX.
Yeah, LAX, 96 years old. Brisbane Airport, 100 years old. But, you know, we've both been in our communities for a long time. Let's see what else we've got. We've got some Delta hand sanitizer, always handy.
Yeah, very handy. A Camelback drink bottle from Delta. Camelback is Australian?
I don't know. Someone online will tell us very quickly.
Camelback, Australian or American, our online community, but this is one of the treats the passengers will receive.
I don't think Australian, I'm guessing. We have a Delta Airlines pen, always handy. And this is cool. This is a Delta Airlines pin. Look, this might not work. It's a bit old school. I'm just going to bring it up close to the camera. But that Delta Airlines pin there we go. Really nice.
I just
That's
got
special.
bored having a sip of coffee.
That's
Early
okay.
start for us today.
But look-
and the bag. This
Yeah.
bag itself.
Yeah. So
Brisbane to LAX Delta. Beautiful.
yeah, and plus the bear. So I've got to say, I've been here at Brisbane Airport 2.5 years, and the toys and fun things that these passengers, every single passenger is receiving, is really pretty special.
How many passengers on this flight?
Lots, don't have an exact number.
I was stitched you up then.
You have stitched me up. But the bottom line is this opens up thousands of extra seats to Queensland each week. And
31
that's
flights going from Brisbane to America at the moment.
yeah, that's across all 5 airlines that service this airport from North America. There's never been capacity like it before. And they're flying into 4 hubs, which is the really cool thing. They're not just flying into any old airport. So we're talking about LAX, Los Angeles, Dallas Fort Worth International Airport, Vancouver, San Francisco. So these are all really, really good airports because once you get to them, the connectivity is really high moving forward. Now, in a second, we're going to bring into our host position a special guest. Come and jump on the microphone.
And please, community out there, if you have any questions you would like to ask of our special guest, Jeff, thank you so much for joining us.
So joining us on the
share
camera.
Share them online and we will ask them now.
Jeff Mumar, who is the Vice President of Delta Asia Pacific. This is Liz Cantor, our co-host. We've met before. We actually shared a stage at a recent airline forum. But it is so good to have you, giving you a front row seat to this arrival.
It's very exciting to be here. We've put a lot of planning into this day. And Delta 93 will be touching down here very soon. So we're very excited.
Yeah, so let's check that flight tracker. There it is, coming over the Pacific. The first bit of Australia it will see is Moreton Island, and then it's across Moreton Bay and then into final on Brisbane Airport. So we're tracking it. We've got 7 cameras around the airport, including Runway-Cam, which is out there. So I'm guessing you've done lots of inaugural first flights, but have you done one like this?
Never like this. This is very special. It's wonderful to be able to see the aircraft coming in here. Maybe we can talk about the flight a bit, Peter, because it's
Give
been,
it. Tell us.
Yeah.
You first settle in.
Yeah, we're very excited. So for this flight, we've pulled out all the stops at Delta. We're very excited to be able to serve LA, Brisbane. The flight itself is our flagship product, right? This is our next generation Airbus 350-900 aircraft. Oh, there it is. And this is, in fact, the aircraft that's going to land today with the LA-28 livery. It's a thing of beauty, isn't that? The aircraft itself has a capacity of 306 seats and 20,000 pounds of cargo capacity. More important than just the 300 seats is that 80 of those seats are premium seats, right? That includes 32 Delta One suites, each with their own private suite door, a flat bed. Yes, this is the best of the best, Peter. A big screen TV, premium food and beverage, everything you could ask for. Beyond that, we've also got 48 premium economy seats. These are Delta Premium Select with a nice recline on them, big screen TV, same food and beverage you would get in Delta One. And for either one of those seats, you can actually pre-select your meal before your flight starts, which is great for you. Yeah, go on.
You're talking about premium economy. What are travelers wanting? Are people actually wanting these, they want to upscale and go in comfort? Where's the market going?
So, we've seen a really good uptick in demand for those premium types of products, not just with corporate travelers, but a lot of premium leisure travelers wanting to experience those as well. At Delta, we've invested a lot over the years to diversify our product offering, right? Every wide-body aircraft we have has 4 different cabins, something for everyone out there. And we've seen a really good uptick in the amount of folks who want that more premium type of experience.
It's interesting that you say that. Earlier on, I shared I was in the most privileged and fortunate position to have my first class experience to Brisbane to Dubai last week. Very lucky to get that opportunity. But it felt like the plane flight was my holiday. As a mother of 3,
Yes.
to have that time in that comfort and that treat, I could have come home and just been like, yep, I've had my holiday. It was the flight, the
Yes.
15-hour flight. I didn't want it to end. I text my mum and said, do you think I can tell the pilot to slow down?
You know, I'm the same way. It's really interesting. Everyone has a different experience that they want to have on the airplane. I'm kind of like you. It's my own little private space. I can either have a sleep, I can read a book, or I can maybe have a movie. And there's something for everyone. Right? The other thing that we're really excited about at Delta is we've started to expand fast free Wi-Fi across our entire domestic fleet, right? Because everyone's got to have a stream here or there. That's going to start to roll out across our international fleets as well. So literally it'll be something for everybody out there. But to your point, yeah, you can have your own little space. Yeah.
We've got a lot of questions, but here's the one at the top of my list. Why Brisbane? Why is Delta launching services? You could have chosen 100 cities in the world, maybe 200 that would be on the next list. Why Brisbane?
Yeah, so there's quite a few reasons, Peter. Let me start off with the U.S. customer and what they're going to benefit from by coming in here. So obviously, customers can come in here and experience Brisbane. It's this wonderful, vibrant city that's thriving. We know the economy in Brisbane has been growing. It's supposed to grow another 60% over the next 15 years, and there's something for everyone to do here. It's just this very energetic city, but more importantly, it's the gateway to the north, right? You can access the Gold Coast, the Great Barrier Reef, the Outback. Go on, Peter.
I'm just going to interrupt for 2 seconds. If you look over your shoulder, you'll see that 747 turning. We rarely have a 747 here. You can see it on our screens. It is heading down to our new parallel runway. So we're going to keep telling these good stories, but we're going to keep an eye on that because we know our viewers will love to see the Queen of the Skies. And I guess you, as someone who's been in aviation for a long time, the 747 has played a big role in aviation, hasn't it?
It sure has. It was one of my favorite aircraft. Anyone who's flown loves to be on the upper deck of a 747. It's just one of these iconic features. And look at this. This one's an absolute beauty. We used to love that aircraft. We don't actually fly it today. We've replaced those with some more fuel-efficient A350s and 330s, but there's no denying the former king.
Yeah, and as you say that, and it's a discussion I have frequently, people forget how much noisier previous generation of aircraft. So since the 60s, the amount of fuel they burn and the noise they make has been on the decline, and so the new generation, like the A350-900, much quieter than those old generation aircraft.
Much quieter and much more fuel efficient, you know. And in fact, COVID actually gave us an opportunity at Delta where we could choose to accelerate some of the retirement of some of those older aircraft. So during that time, we retired our 777 fleet, right, which was one of our longest range fleet that was out there. It really didn't have that fuel economy, and that's very important for Delta. We have a goal to achieve net zero carbon emissions by 2050, and one of the important pillars of that is the fuel burn. And this was a big step for us to start to reduce that piece.
So net zero by 2050?
By 2050.
And just throwing it in there, Brisbane Airport as an airport operation will be net zero on the 1st of January this coming year.
Incredible.
So that's only 3 weeks away. That's 25 years earlier than we initially thought, but those plans under our CEO have been rapidly accelerated. So from January 1, we are net zero. There is solar power generation across this airport, but we're actually buying in solar and hydro power from other parts of Queensland, plus changing our operation in so many ways. The Runway-Cam, which we are seeing out there, look right now, that camera is on an electric vehicle. It's a Ford 150 Lightning. We were going to put it on a helicopter. That would have burnt lots of emissions. We've put it on a car, and look at the pictures. So right now, that 747 not far away from turning onto that runway. We will pause for that takeoff. But Liz, I know you've got some other questions for Jeff as well.
Yeah, absolutely. Jeff, I hope I'm not putting you on the spot here, but some of the conversation online and questions is about ticket pricing of this flight. Can you give an idea of expense if people do want to buy themselves a seat on this trip?
Yeah, for sure. So, you know, ticket prices in aviation is always a hot topic. What I would say is this. we have really gone out of our way over the years to offer a multitude of different products for any type of traveler there is, right? Whether it's the business class, the premium select that we talked about. There's also just a differentiated main cabin and other benefits that come with that. So it really depends on the type of the ticket and experience that you want to have, and they all come at different price points, right? Whatever you feel is right for you is what's going to be available out there. So it's really a dynamic environment, but something for everybody, and intentionally so people have those alternatives.
I'm just getting some text messages through from people who say, I need to have a shower because I need to get to work because it's almost work time in Brisbane, but I can't go until this 747 takes off. So a shout out
in the shower.
A shout out to Rachel out there who's watching. She says, I can't have a shower until the 747 takes off. Thankfully, Rachel, that's only moments away. And then people can start their day because it's 6:36 a.m. local time, right? People are getting ready for work. You can see down in the bay here, this is the international terminal where your flight will pull up very soon, happy days for people.
Speaking of showers, I had the most unique experience on my flight to Dubai last week. My first ever shower in the sky. Incredible. So they say, what time would you like your shower, miss, when you're in the fortunate position I was in? You have 5 minutes and you are showering in the sky. Unbelievable.
That is amazing.
The bathroom was also larger than my bathroom at home.
It's incredible. It's a unique feature on those flights. I'll tell you this, on the Delta side, we like to offer a shower feature, but we tend to do it in our lounges. If I can I tell them a little bit about the connecting experience in Los Angeles?
Please.
Yeah, because for the Aussies, this is going to be incredible for them, right? So talk about the benefits of U.S. travelers coming into Brisbane and the Queensland area. For the Aussies going over, they've got basically two choices. One, you've got groups who are going to stay in Los Angeles. And for them, they get a special treat because the entire Terminal 3 in LAX is brand new as of April of last year. We spent billions to renovate this. It's state of the art. It's got one of our biggest, most prestigious sky clubs with an outdoor deck, right? So you can see the aircrafts coming in and out as well.
And fresh air.
And fresh air. And just launched a month ago is our Delta One Premium Lounge. And this thing is absolutely incredible. One of the best features of this is when you roll up to LAX, you've got your own dedicated security queue, right? So you go through your own door, straight through security, and right into one of the best lounges in aviation history, including the ability to take a shower there. So it's really great for them. But for anyone who wants to go beyond, we've timed this flight so that it hits our bank. Right?
We're going to take a pause for 30 seconds. We're just going to be quiet for a moment. We're going to let our viewers listen to the 747 takeoff. We're going to bring it to you from multiple channels. Here we go. Let's take a pause and have a listen. The 747 taking off from Brisbane Airport on its way to Hong Kong. Can I give a big shout out to Runway-Cam guys? How good was that shot? We were tracking parallel with that 747. Obviously, it pulled ahead at the end when it hit the gas. But no one's producing live pictures like that from an airport in the world. Seriously?
That is one of the best things I've ever seen. Yeah, I love it. Yeah, it's
we have to take you back to what you were just talking about because that was really fascinating. So Delta's LAX lounge experience now and what you're offering, not only the opportunity to have a shower, refresh in transit.
Speaking of showers, Rachel can now go and have her shower. The 747 has taken off.
Thanks for staying with us, Rachel. But also the chance to have some fresh air. So I was just travelling back from Dubai, flew home, economy through Singapore, had a stop over there. Something I loved when I stepped off at the Singapore airport, I saw some doors and I thought, do I get to go outside for a bit? And I just stepped outside after that flight from Dubai to Singapore, had some big breaths of fresh air, stepped back in, ready to get back on a flight to Brisbane. So it's great that you're offering moments like that for travellers.
Absolutely, it's just the best experience there is. And we can see we're surrounded, right? And I don't know if everyone can see the folks who are tracking these flights on their own. You get a bird's eye view. And it's just one of the coolest things to be able to see the runway and the tarmac there.
It sounds
Yeah.
like travel itself is, as I mentioned, becoming a holiday experience. If you're
Absolutely,
passionate
yeah.
about shooting planes,
Yeah.
go sit on this balcony at LAX and call that your holiday.
Exactly, and we'd love to have you. Yeah. You know, I'll tell you what though, so there's quite a lot of people who are going to go beyond LAX. And one of the best things about this new flight is we've timed it. It's got a morning departure out of Brisbane, but it gets into LA in the morning as well. And that allows us to hit all the Delta connectivity out of LA. So Aussies are going to be able to hit 40 different unique markets in the US and North America from our connections in LA. So it's going to be
See,
a great...
I love
yeah.
when things are thought out that way because you're aiding people's travel experiences because they're landing in better time zones, they're adapting quicker, they're not losing days to jet lag. That at the moment time is precious.
It absolutely is, yeah.
Yeah, well done.
Yeah. So we're going to have great connectivity, great options, and something for everybody.
Well, I know my family are very excited. My husband's brother lives in California. We have 3 nieces there. It's a long flight when you have 3 little children. So the fact that we have more options and better timing is a real gift to the community. You're
great.
connecting families, so
Yeah.
thank you.
Well, I'll tell you what. Oh, yeah,
No,
go on.
just a few questions I'm just going to throw out there. So our team of the online people have asked, can we get a shot of the Runway-Cam soon?
Oh, good.
We will look out, and that way we can show you how that's using. Another question, is there a water cannon? There is no water cannon display today, and I've got to say we've found over the last few years lots of airlines have stepped back from that water cannon experience. Brisbane and Australia is a place where we either have too much water, we have floods, or we don't have not enough and we have droughts, and so for a variety of reasons lots of those airlines have stepped back, and so we're really focusing on making the passengers feel excited when they get into the terminal, and that's why you've got all those cool gifts. So yeah, they're just some of the comments. I guess I'd love to understand what goes in to launching an airline. People might think, oh, okay, you just turn it on and it happens. What's the back end? How hard, how expensive is it to go into a new place like Brizzy?
Yeah, it's an incredibly complicated process, right? It all starts with us studying supply and demand.
Sorry, I just want to interrupt. That's one of our airside safety vehicles. I don't think it's Runway-Cam. Is it Runway-Cam? No, it's not.
Isuzu Utes?
Yeah, that's an Isuzu.
Yep.
We'll get to the Runway-Cam in a moment, and I'll keep going. Back to you, Jeff, talking about the launch process.
No, for sure. So you have to study these markets, right? Figure out which are the right markets that are going to have the right demand. How does it fit in with our network? Are we able to offer the connectivity that we need to be able to have for not just the local market, but also the beyond? Then you've got to find out the right aircraft, right? Do you have the right aircraft for the right market, the right crew? Yep.
That's cool. And I just want to show you on camera 6, have a look at that. That's the front bonnet of Runway-Cam. It's airside safety vehicle number 8. I was calling it Thunderbird 8 yesterday. They didn't like that, so let's go with Runway-Cam. It's an electric vehicle, EV150, imported from the US. It arrived with the steering wheel on the wrong side. I'm not sure what you guys are doing over there.
If anyone needs help driving it, maybe I can chip in.
So it went to a factory up in Brendale. You can see the bonnet. You can see on the right screen that amazing lens, that helicopter lens that's on the roof. Up at that factory at Brendale, they did a conversion where they moved the steering wheel from one side to the other. It's actually an extremely complicated and expensive process. And then it's free to drive on Australian roads. And we've brought it here, just one of our electric fleets. So yesterday, one of the many jobs we had yesterday was charging all our equipment up for today's broadcast, cameras, lights, and charging the EV. It had an 8-hour charge overnight so that it's ready to go. But that vehicle, very unique. And I tell you what, there's never been an airside vehicle in the world with a camera like that on the top. That camera, $400,000. Anthony Shorten from Aerial Advantage is sitting in the back seat. He has basically joysticks and lots of controls. I was in there with him yesterday. And if you go to our social page, you can see we filmed a behind the scenes showing people how it worked. But basically, he can zoom into anywhere in the airport, and it's used to being mounted on a helicopter, so whether the helicopter's moving up or down or being hit by turbulence, that camera is rock solid. So you look at the pictures on the right-hand side, no matter, they can go over bumps, they could go over speed humps, but that camera is rock solid. And that's what TV networks use for chases in the US. It's what filmmakers use. So we're really happy to bring you Runway-Cam. Thank you for the viewer who asked that, and I hope that satisfied your question.
And I just want to thank Sub Emperor 99. 23,000 people tracking the Delta A350 at the moment. 23,000.
Amazing.
Thank
Okay,
you for
so
sharing that
Flight
figure.
Radar emailed me this morning. They've been really good. A good shout out to the team at Flight Radar. They put a tweet out when the flight took off yesterday and said it's on its way. And they've also done some social messaging this morning to say this live stream is on. We said it would go to #1 in the world, and I think with 23,000 people, we're on our way.
Yes, we got to start there. Well, let me.
Ooh, and our likes have gone up. 254. We're trying to get our likes to 350 in honour.
Well, let me give them some fun facts. Maybe we can get a few likes up there. I'm going to give them a few fun facts about Delta, because we were talking about connectivity before. So here's some facts on the Delta side. We are one of the largest airlines in the world. We operate nearly 5,000 flights per day in our peak season.
5,000 a day.
5,000, yeah. We carried 190 million passengers last year, and of those, 100 million are connecting. So when you've got that kind of a connecting environment, you better be the best operator out there, and it turns out we are. We got an award this year from Cirium. They monitor every little detail you can imagine on the operation, and we won it this year, third year in a row, 2.5 points better than our closest competitor, who wasn't even another U.S. airline. And so we take that very seriously. For us, we call ourselves the on-time machine because of our ability to connect those passengers as best as we can.
I need to interrupt. Flight Radar 24 has just put out a tweet in the last 3 seconds. Watch this. It says the two most most tracked flights right now. #1, Inaugural Delta LAX to Brisbane flight. #2, British Airways flight. Now, have a look at the numbers. This flight, LA 93, 30,000 people tracking it. The #2 flight, 1,600. So we're not just by a few.
Yeah.
That's a country mile. So when I said my hope for today's live stream was that we would get this to the most tracked flight in the world, I think we've smashed it out of the park.
It's incredible.
And we've got people from Ireland watching online, Oregon, everywhere in the world is joining us. Thank you.
Everyone's tuned in.
A quick shout out. We wanted 350 likes by the time for the A350. We've now
Just
gone to
done it.
360.
Yeah.
So there you go. So it's an A350 900.
It is.
So our next goal is 900 likes,
900.
guys.
I think we can do it.
Before it lands.
Yeah.
So, look, we know people are interested in this flight because they're watching it. Flight Radar's just put another tweet out. Literally now it says less than 30 minutes to go to touchdown. Check out the live stream from BNE, including the special Runway-Cam. Thank you guys from Flight Radar. That is sensational. As we see that Batik aircraft on the runway right now. I'll give you some details on it in a second. But thank you, Flight Radar, for that support. It's what's allowing people around the world to discover this stream, and then they're tuning in. So please share it with anyone you know. So that flight there, Batik Air, it's heading to Denpasar, which is Bali, the holiday playground to the north of Queensland. This time of year is really popular for people heading to Bali. It's a good budget, fantastic local.
Good waves.
Good waves. Now, Liz is a former professional surfer. Tell us about the waves. Good in Bali?
Yeah, they're good in Bali. There's some good waves in Los Angeles too.
All right.
Huntington Beach, and a short flight to Hawaii. So for all the mad keen surfers that live on the Sunshine Coast and Gold Coast, here's another, connecting flight to some surf breaks.
Be the Surfer Express. I love it.
Yeah. Now, Jeff, you're based in Seoul, South Korea. How was your trip over here to Brisbane? Thank you for coming here and joining us for this occasion.
Yeah, it was great. So I flew Korean Air down from Seoul. The reason I'm based in Seoul, it is the headquarters of Delta for the Pacific. And the reason being is that one of the biggest, most powerful partners that we can have is Korean Air. We've got a joint venture with them, which means that everything that we do, we can do together across the Pacific. So Delta flights coming into Seoul can then connect on beyond to all throughout Southeast Asia, including the South Pacific on Korean Air. And most importantly, that joint venture, it allows us to coordinate on customer experiences. Everyone knows you go from one airline to another, that can be bumpy. Well, when we get together with one of our joint venture partners, we can eliminate all of those seams and make it a truly seamless journey for everyone. One of the powers.
Are you able to name some of those joint ventures?
Absolutely, yeah. So we've got joint ventures with Air France, KLM, and Virgin Atlantic in Europe.
It does make travel so convenient, those partnerships.
So much. We've got one with LATAM in South America, Aeromexico in Mexico, and of course Korean Air in the Pacific.
So you're global.
Yeah, but let me give you some examples, right? One of the most important things you do is when you're rushing to the airport in your taxi or your Uber or whatnot, is you're trying to check in, right? Well, if you're checking in for a flight, it's on a partner. Sometimes that's not easy or you can't do it at all, and it's the most frustrating thing. Not on us. on the Fly Delta app or any one of our partner apps, you can check in for the other one, right? It doesn't even matter, and that starts your journey off well. Yeah, go on, Peter.
We're going to keep you here because are you happy to stay for the landing? Because I think that's pretty cool, right? If you can experience that
Of course,
landing.
love to,
Okay.
yeah.
We also
You're
wanna-
handling the humidity here in Brisbane.
I love it, yeah.
Now, when the passengers step off the aircraft, not only will they get a bag of goodies, they'll also have a special greeting from a didgeridoo player. We're going to meet him now. This is the first time we've tried to do a live cross on our broadcast, so let's see how it goes. But Jake Fabilla, he's standing by in the Aero Bridge. Jake, can you hear us? And tell us what you're going to do today.
Hey, good morning, Peter. Good morning, Liz. So this morning I'll be exchanging a bit of cultural information by playing a bit of what we know as the didgeridoo.
Do you want to, now lots of our viewers, we know we've got people in America, we've got people in Europe, they won't know what a didgeridoo is. Tell us what it is and just maybe give us a quick demo and tell us how hard it is to play one of these things and what you're actually doing.
Yeah, sure. So the didgeridoo is a traditional instrument from Australia, built and bred in Arnhem Land. Now the traditional name, I want people to know this as the yiraki. That's how we say it. And yeah, basically, you know, it's sacred sounds that we use to tell stories. And I'll give you a quick trial now if you want to have a listen.
Yeah, mate, hit us with it. That is so cool.
That's just a little bit of what it
That
can do.
is so cool.
Love it.
So, as passengers step off the plane, that's the first thing they'll hear. Jake, this is a very unique role for you to be doing today. How do you feel being a part of this role?
I feel excellent. I feel, you know, very honoured, and I feel like it's a good opportunity for me to exchange my culture and a bit of what we know about our own land and share it with our amazing Delta passengers coming through.
And just tell us quickly about your story, mate. We'd love to know your story behind what you do.
No worries. I'm a proud Jabba Jabba man, which if you know the city of Broome in Western Australia, it's about an hour's drive north of there. And being a proud descendant of that means I get to share my culture and be proud about it. So really it's about me, you know, exchanging that cultural knowledge and really showing the world what Australia has to offer talent-wise.
And that culture and that knowledge is so important. Something I treasure about our First Nations people is their connection to country, and that includes both the land, the sea, and the sky.
I couldn't agree more, Liz. Yeah, no, it's our job to really push that culture to the next generation coming up. So we'll stand by it and we'll keep pushing.
And playing the didgeridoo is not easy.
Yeah.
He made it look so easy. Can I just
Tell us how you
it's
breathe.
not?
Give us a 101 on how to play the didge.
Look, it is simple, easy. All you have to do is be able to breathe and, be able to sniff oxygen through your nose and push air out your mouth. That's it. It's not rocket science.
For a long period of time, though, he missed that second point. So try that at home, folks. Breathe in your nose and see for how long you can push air out. And just remember how long Jake played. Jake, can you give us one more? It's just such a beautiful, beautiful sound.
Yeah, no worries. Hey, I'll chuck some bird sounds in this one too. You'll hear some birds in this.
You won't believe it. As you say that, Jake, a bird lands next to us,
Yes.
2 meters from us, 10 feet from us at our hosting position.
He wants in on it.
And
Yes.
seriously, as you said, I'm going to give you some bird sounds. A bird lands. Our cameramen are all over it. And all of a sudden we have a shot of it. Jake, we want to really thank you for joining us live on this broadcast. When the passengers get off the plane, we will see you and hear you. And it's so exciting that they'll hear that sound. So, Jake, we'll let you go. Thank you so much for joining us on this broadcast. And is there anyone you want to give a shout out to anywhere in the world?
Everyone in Australia right now, and all the boys in my Jukka team.
Excellent, mate. Thank you so much for joining us, and we'll see you in action. We're less, probably, I'll check the time, we're 15 to 20 minutes away from touchdown. Jake's got to go and get ready. How cool was that?
That was amazing. Absolutely incredible. Yeah. And what a wonderful welcome to all the customers coming to Brisbane and arriving very soon. What a great way to start.
Quick question, the A350-900, why is this the right aircraft for this route?
Sure. Quite a few reasons. One of those is it's got one of our best cargo capabilities of any aircraft that we've got. And it's fascinating to see some of the cargo that goes from one direction to the other. In fact, I happen to know what's going to be on the flight going over this way today. It's got some live coral on it, some mangoes, some chilled beef, and fresh fish, all coming to the U.S. And coming the other way, we know we've got some flour, some medical devices, and some technology equipment. It's fascinating to see some of the diversity on that. Yeah.
And we know between Brisbane and the United States, that's our biggest air freight, right?
Mm-hmm.
So that's the biggest air freight route for Brisbane. So essentially, you're adding an extra. I guess tell me how that works. Does it depend on how much weight the travellers are taking, how much cargo? What's that balance there?
Yeah, it does. And different aircraft have different capabilities for belly cargo. Our 350-900 is one of our best, and that's why it's perfect for this market. But then also, it's one of our most fuel-efficient aircraft, right? And it's got one of the longest ranges. For those of viewers who don't know, this is nearly a 15-hour flight. It's an ultra long haul. You've got to have the right aircraft to make that journey, and if you're going to fly that far, you better do it with the most fuel-efficient aircraft you have.
Now,
and so we are too.
I set the stopwatch yesterday when I was watching Flight Radar as this plane took off. So it took off 13 hours, 33 minutes, and 15 seconds ago. We are 24 minutes away from touchdown. So that's an under 14-hour flight. So they've had a pretty good tailwind across the Pacific.
Yeah, yes. Or less of a headwind is probably the right way to put it. I think the crew and the passengers are just very excited to get here, so maybe they're coming in just a touch early. But the flight time is typically scheduled for 14 and a half. It's great they're going to come in early. We always like that.
Tell me, is there much competition within an airline to be the pilot, to be the cabin crew of an inaugural first flight? Tell me how that happens and how you choose them, right? How do you work out who gets to do that honor?
Well, everyone likes to be part of an inaugural flight. It's a special occasion. Everyone likes to participate. We it's just one of those very rare opportunities that you have. Yeah, we have a bidding process, right? And I won't go through all the details of those. But one special occasion is we actually have a captain who's going to be joining us, piloting the aircraft out of Brisbane back to LA, and this will be his retirement flight. So it's also a very special moment for him as well.
I was looking into his history. He's been flying with you guys for about 36 years. Before that, he flew F-16s for the Air Force. So that's a special flight for him. And we should mention this plane touching down in 22 odd minutes. It's got a pretty quick turnaround. It's back out this morning and back for the inaugural flight, DL92, right? That's the flight back to over there. So that's special that he will have his last flight on with this inaugural flight. So there is competition, right? People are keen to be on that first flight.
Of course, everyone likes to participate. You know what's other is very unique. I think you all mentioned before the LA28 livery. The reason this is important, right, is Delta is very proud sponsors of Team USA and LA28. And it's not for no reason at all. It's actually for a very deep-rooted reason. Is the Olympics, we all know, it's the best way to use sport to bring the world together, right? We come together as communities and cultures. I know, Peter, you want to look at the aircraft. Go on.
No, keep going. Look, the aircraft is just giving the backdrop to our story. So keep telling us these stories, because I'm fascinated, because it's not cheap to be an Olympic sponsor, but obviously Delta sees value there.
Highly impactful for us. So the Olympics use the power of sport to bring the world together. And at Delta, our mission is no one better connects the world. And it's this great correlation. It's not just putting one airplane from point A to point B. It's how do we then connect those cultures, those people, those differences together. That's what makes Delta Delta. And so the correlation between the Olympics is like this perfect match. And so we're very proud to be those sponsors.
Let's just update folks. If you just joined us, DL93, 20 minutes away from touchdown. They're well into their descent, just passing 18,000 feet, 331 knots. They are just off the coast of Queensland. So it's going to bring them over Moreton Island, which is a spectacular sand island. we've also been seeing Brisbane is home to a lot of cruise ships. The cruise ship terminal is right opposite. Look at that. That's a cruise ship right on the other side of the runway. We know that so many Americans fly into Brisbane because they want to jump onto a cruise. So cruising's really big. So they can land here at the airport 5 minutes away. They're on a ship. And we saw that come in this morning at sunrise, and it's just poking its head over the other side of the runway. But as we said, 19 minutes to go now. They're getting ready for landing, aren't they? Like it's passengers be seated time, isn't it?
That's right. And as they're getting ready to land, the cargo groups are getting ready to reload the aircraft and unpack the other. So it's the turn process is fascinating for those viewers who haven't seen one of those. Typically at Delta, we like to have 2 hours to turn an aircraft, right? To clean it, to do the baggage, to pack the cargo and get it off. So actually the flight timing here is perfect. Gives us actually a little bit more time than we need to turn it around.
Anthony Riley asked, what is departure time? So departure time for DAL 92 is 7:20 a.m.
Yeah, so it'll go down about 3 hours. Yeah. So talk us about that process, because you've got to get all the freight off, you've got to get the bags off, and then you've got to get the freight on. And as we talked about, lots of that freight is temperature sensitive. We talked about chilled beef, we talked about chilled seafood. So this is a highly timed process because it's all got to meet at the one moment, right?
Absolutely, and all with different types of specialized containers to transport those unique products.
An absolute piece of art there from the crew out there. You can see that reflection. We've actually had a bit of rain here this past week. Great shot of one of our airside safety crews getting ready, and we should mention them. They are out there in those highly visible yellow vehicles. They're patrolling the runways continuously. Their job is to keep everybody safe. So they're looking for anything any debris that might be on the runway, any obstruction. They move animals off the runway. We are right next to Moreton Bay. We have mud crabs. We have all sorts of things that end up on our runway that shouldn't. And these guys and girls, we have a lot of females in this team, their job is to basically be the eyes and ears and the arms and legs for the air traffic control tower. So they'll say, guys, can you zip out? We've had a report of this down the end of the runway. They're the ones who zip down there. And one of the cool parts of their job is that they actually drive on the runway because they have to do a runway inspection, and they're looking for any debris on the runway. They're looking to see that the line markings are clear. They're looking to see that none of the light bulbs have blown. They're looking to see that no aircraft has dropped some debris on the runway. So a big shout out to the airside safety team, not just here, but at airports everywhere. And of course, one of our airside safety cars with the very special role of having Runway-Cam as well. So
13 minutes.
13 minutes. Getting
It's
very
great.
close.
I love the nod to safety. Obviously, safety is critically important for the airline. We preach this throughout all of Delta. And in fact, every single Delta employee is empowered to stop the operation if they see something that's wrong. And it's
Seriously?
a really powerful impact.
Like,
yes, absolutely.
You're not
Yes.
going to get in trouble. That's
You call a safety timeout and you stop it, because safety always comes first before anything else. And so it's a deep-rooted culture that you have to have that sort of a safety approach, and it's very important. So I'm glad you pointed out those safety features during on the ramp.
And look, Delta and Brisbane Airport, I think, have a few things in common. Safety is key. You celebrate 100 years in 2025.
Yeah.
We celebrate 100 years in 2025. So we have this shared history. But how good's this? From today, we have this shared future.
Yeah, absolutely. I love the 100-year correlation. It's beautiful. We need to spend the next 100 years together now, don't we? Yeah, exactly.
And look,
Yeah.
this is a good segue. Here is our 100-year special pin. It was only released yesterday. It's got the one is actually the air traffic control tower. That's yours.
Thank
I see
you.
you've got your
Yeah,
American
it's
Australian
great.
pin
Well,
from
you can always have
AmCham.
2 pins, can't do
You
that.
can have
Yeah,
two pins.
I love it. We'll get you a Delta 100 as well, and we
Okay.
can put these next to each other and start wearing them together.
That's
Yeah.
cool.
And I only just learned that Brisbane Airport is actually older than LAX. That really caught me off guard
Yeah,
last night.
there you go.
Close.
Yeah.
What was the age of LAX?
96 years.
96 and 100.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
It's interesting. I wonder if any of your listeners actually know how Delta Airlines got started or how we got our name.
I would love to know.
Hit it with us.
Yeah.
Tell
All
us.
right. So we actually started off as a crop duster. If you can imagine this, in Monroe, Louisiana, right? That's how the whole thing got started off. And it originated in this area that formed this natural river delta. And that's how the name became. A few years later, we started carrying passengers, and the rest is history. But that's how we got our start.
So
100 years ago.
So from a crop duster 100 years ago to an
premium.
A350 900,
Yes.
which is 12 minutes away from landing. Boy, you've come a long way.
We've come a long way, and we've got a long way yet to go. We look forward to doing a lot of that together with Brisbane, and it's going to be a bright future for both of us.
And I should mention the CEO of Brisbane Airport, Gert-Jan de Graaf. He's had a long history with Delta. He used to be at JFK, and he told me proudly yesterday when he started at JFK, his terminal had 11 million passengers a year, and by the time he finished, there were 24 million passengers a year, and that growth was a result of Delta. So we've had a long connection with Delta going back through our CEO, yeah?
Yeah, absolutely. And during that time, Delta became the leading airline in some of those key geographies, including New York, including Los Angeles, Seattle, and of course we've got our home in Atlanta. That power and that connectivity is what has made us what we are today.
Now, we should call it out. 11 minutes to go, 10,000 feet. We're closing in. So if you are tracking it on flight radar, and we know heaps of people who are, it will come across Moreton Island. Liz, you're a travel reporter for one of our local lifestyle shows on Channel 7, as well as being a weather presenter on Channel 10. What are the cool things to do on Moreton Island?
So Brisbane is quite unique because we are surrounded by beautiful locations, lifestyle locations. Moreton Island is one of them. Tangalooma, there you can go sand tobogganing, you can go diving around shipwrecks. It's untouched, pristine, white sand beaches, good waves. Also, if you're a surfer, good waves. But it's a really nice holiday destination, so close to Brisbane City. Then you've also got the Gold Coast to its south and the Sunshine Coast to its north. I'd say the Sunshine Coast is a little bit more relaxed. The Gold Coast is a little bit more happening. There's a bit more of an arts, cultures hub down there too.
And speaking of waves, as a surfer, where's the best surfing spots?
Well, we actually have a World Surf Heritage in Noosa National Park. Beautiful right-hand point.
Have you been to
breaks.
Noosa yet?
No, it sounds like I need to go.
Oh my goodness.
Noosa is a must. It's absolutely beautiful.
Yeah.
One of the few places you can still see koalas out in the trees. Absolutely
While you see
gorgeous.
whales out in the surf, right? It's got the whole mix, and it's got a street of restaurants and resorts. And look, we're talking about Gold Coast versus Sunshine Coast. Gold Coast, have you been there?
Not yet.
Okay.
Yeah.
So Gold Coast is high rise. So it's more Miami, right? Where at Noosa, they've very intentionally gone about keeping the heights low, and it's a very different experience. But the bottom line is, both of these destinations sit either side of Brisbane. You fly into Brisbane, an hour south, you're on the Gold Coast, an hour north, you're on the Sunshine Coast, or 25 minutes off the coast, you're on Moreton Island or you're on Stradbroke Island. So we're surrounded. Not only can you experience Brisbane, but we've got these amazing regions all around. And I guess I'm interested to know, when you put a new route online for sale, do you go out to your frequent flyers and say, hey guys, if you're looking for a new destination, here's Brisbane? And is that how people find out about it?
No, of course, and through multiple channels. Look, we are highly partnered and correlated with a number of different travel partners that are out there as well, right? And our connectivity with them and their ability to promote and support these routes as well really helps us to capture all of the bases. Plus, people know about Brisbane, right? They know about this area. They know it's a wonderful place to travel and to have holiday. In fact, my family itself is probably likely coming here in the next few weeks. We shouldn't have advertised that, but we're going to be coming, hitting all these places that I think we've just talked about here. But no, there's multiple ways to get the word out there, and our partnership with those travel partners is one of the best ways that we can do it.
Just saying hello on the comments from Kayla, who's watching us from Newcastle and enjoying the stream. So I've got to tell you, it's actually, we're coming up to a pretty intense time for our camera crews because, we've been filming lots of planes. This is the one that we don't want to miss, right? This is the one we don't want to miss. And so all our crews are repositioning to get that runway shot. A reminder to all our camera crews in the field, don't forget to ISO record in your cameras so that we have high resolution recording of all your vision, because as soon as we get off air, we will cut up that vision and get it out to the world, right? So there is media around the world eager to cover this. So not only are you getting it live to wherever you're watching us from the world, around the world, but we'll also serve that up later on. So that plane just passing Cape Morton right now, one of the weather stations that you would rely on. So we are really 7 minutes away. We are very close.
Oh, here we go. Have we assigned the runway?
I'm going to double check that. So,
While you do that,
yep.
speaking of weather, it's 7 a.m. in the morning here, 26 degrees, which is 79 Fahrenheit. So that's what they'll be stepping off the plane to. That's the actual temperature, but it feels like temperature is even warmer thanks to the high humidity at the moment. I mentioned earlier, here in Brisbane, we are 6 days into our summer.
Yes.
So it is heating up.
The U.S. customers are going to be very happy because I imagine many of them are coming from a colder climate. It's going to be wonderful. For the U.S. customers watching, I don't know if they know this, 300 days per year of sunshine here in Brisbane. And one of the other cool facts that I've learned is 200 national parks in Queensland alone. Absolutely incredible. Something for everyone to see. And of course the weather to come with it. Yeah, the warm
And
weather.
what I will say is quite unique about Queensland too is that you can go from the Barrier Reef, so you are seeing the most beautiful coral and ocean in the world, to outback Queensland, where you're seeing red dirt country and dinosaur fossils. This state is extreme in what it offers.
We're going to, by the time we're off air, we're going to have your whole itinerary
We
for the
are.
family
We're
holiday.
Sketching it out. I need to stay for 4 months now. Yeah.
So the question, the biggest question we've had is which runway are we landing on? My airside ops team are telling me we are landing on 19 right. So if you check your flight radar, which I know everybody's got multiple screens growing right now, it's just coming over Moreton Island. It's now lining up with 19 right. That is our newer runway, opened only a few years ago. What that means for us, Jeff, is that once it lands, it's got a great long taxiway to the international terminal, and that allows us to get up close and see the livery, see the aircraft.
Nicholas PB, thanks for pointing out. He's also said 19 right arrival after the SQ A350 and the EK A380.
We've got a treat coming up, seriously. Okay, that's a good 3 planes coming up in the next few minutes. So, folks, a quick reminder, hit that like button. We're at 516. We wanted to get to 350 for the A350. Now we want to get to the 900. So hit that like, but also hit the share button, guys. Send it out. Let people know that this plane's about to land.
Gully Wins, watching from Antarctica. Thank you so much for joining us from Wilkins Aerodrome.
Okay.
Insane.
Amazing. That is incredible. There are flights from... this is a really remote part of the world. It's not part of Delta's network. That's no offence. That's just part of, the Australian government, US government. There are flights out of South America. I'd love to hear from you if you could let us know what you're doing, what work you're doing in Antarctica, and we'll come back and keep an eye out for that. But that's very cool.
Pat Transit, a bit upset about the no water salute. Just as a weather presenter here in Queensland, I want to point out that we have quite strict restrictions when it comes to water in this state. Drought is really common to us. We're either flooding or we're either in drought, so we are quite respectful in terms of water usage here in Brisbane, but we've got First Nations artists who will be doing a didgeridoo salute and a welcome to country.
And I'm sure our crews know the A380 will be landing first, and then follow after that is the Delta flight. So we're going to capture both of those
welcome,
in really
Thomas,
quick succession.
From Belfast, Northern Ireland.
Oh, great.
And I've got to say, we've jumped to 6:30, so we're going to get to 900, folks, by the time this plane lands. It's got 3 minutes to go. We're getting pretty close.
We've got a joiner from Atlanta, Georgia. Look at that.
That's good. That's
wonderful.
good.
Yeah.
Singapore Airlines touching down right now on our new runway. This is the runway that Delta will be there in a few minutes. Look at that. We have got coverage from 2 angles there. I'm actually flying that flight in February through Singapore and on to London. Cannot wait to experience that at Singapore Airport. So really looking forward to that. But this is a feast. If you're a plane spotter, seriously, folks, share this link out now so that everybody is online, because we are only a couple of minutes away. Seriously, a couple of minutes away. So we'll get the A380 in. That's now over your right shoulder here, Jeff. You can see it coming onto the Legacy runway. And then straight after that, will be the Delta flight. A reminder to all our crews, hit record.
Welcome to viewers from Serbia at the moment. So we've got Antarctica, Serbia, Georgia, America, Sweden, Oklahoma, Ireland.
I love the flags.
Salt Lake City.
Throw your flags in, folks, because these
Welcome
comments
to Brisbane,
And
Queensland.
Edmonton, Alberta there as well. Probably a little bit jealous of the 26 degrees that we're experiencing right now.
So, 29 is our top today, which is 84 degrees Fahrenheit.
So just drawing your eyes to the screen, the A380 lining up there for the Legacy Runway 19 left. The A380s, there are now 2 services in per day and 2 services out from Dubai. That was our longest route until Americans started flying from Dallas. But this is a crucial service to bring tourists from Europe into Queensland. It takes our exports back out to the Middle East.
Pete, how many operations per day can Brisbane handle?
We can handle far more than we currently have, so that's why that extra runway was built, to give us that extra capacity. We have many years of capacity. What we're running out of room is terminal space, which is why we're doing upgrades in the domestic terminal, upgrades in the international terminal, and soon we are planning for a Terminal 3. There's the Emirates A380 coming in from Dubai. Sensational
A flight
shot.
I did last week.
You were just last week. So you were in the shower, right? Is it just one shower?
Yes, for a couple of very special guests. Also, if you've just joined us for this monumentous landing, I want to introduce Jeff, Vice President of Asia Pacific for Delta Airlines. Jeff Mumor, have I pronounced your last name correctly?
Yeah, just like that.
Where does
Mumar.
Where does that originate
it's
from?
a wonderful mystery, and we're all still trying to determine it these days. But somewhere in Europe, we're pretty sure, but it's hard to narrow down from that. But
Thank you so much for joining us here in Brisbane.
It's a real pleasure.
So just drawing us back, we are going to start to focus exclusively on DL93 because it is just passing through 900 feet. This is probably the last time we'll show you Flight Tracker because we're going to show you it real for the first time. You're about to see this special LA-28 livery aircraft. It might be on a long lens, guys, where if you can picture up and give us that first shot any moment now after a trip across the Pacific. There it is on camera 6 on Runway-Cam, picking it up. There it is now. Just to let you know, some of our breakfast television shows in Australia will actually dip in and take this moment live. We will actually pause our commentary for the landing so that people can see and hear, and they don't need to hear from us. They've heard enough from us.
See the aircraft.
Because it's all about the aircraft. So there it is on final approach at 400 feet, very soon on the ground. Excitement must be high on that aircraft right now.
It's very high. Everyone's very excited to land. They've got the sunshine. They've got the didgeridoo coming as well. I think there's a lot of excitement building on that aircraft.
A lot of excitement where we are. There are people taking photos. Have a look at that livery. We're just getting the first view of it now. You've got the Delta colours, you've got the gold, which was reflective of Los Angeles, but it's also reflective of gold medals and the Olympic movement. You've got 3 palm trees along there, the 3 different Olympics hosted by Los Angeles. We're going to get a close-up view of all those in a moment, but let's just slow it down and we're going to let you hear the noise of the aircraft and let's enjoy this landing. Welcome to Queensland. Delta Airlines, a special delivery from one Olympic host city to another, strengthening ties between Queensland and the United States. What a moment, Jeff.
Absolutely stunning. And look at it, Peter. We can see it off to our right here. Beautiful airplane, beautiful market. What a way to start. Absolutely incredible.
What do we give that runway, that landing out of 10?
I'm going to give that a 10.
Yeah, I think so.
It's the best score you must do.
Have a look at Runway-Cam. It's tracking with the aircraft. This is where Runway-Cam comes into its own because that airside safety vehicle can move around that aircraft safely. It's approved to be there and give you an amazing look. So have a look at those shots. That is absolutely incredible. They do have a taxi which will take them about 8 minutes down to the terminal. That allows us to see this aircraft, see the elements up close, and we promised a front row view seat. I don't think we've disappointed.
Absolutely. What an incredible coverage of that monumental flight. What a stunning livery, perfect landing, and what a day. Absolutely incredible. Now, the next group that's going to be excited is the group that's about to board that aircraft after this and head back to Los Angeles.
Now, I just want to say, there's the LA 28 Olympic Rings logo and the Paralympic logo, not to be forgotten as well, both on either side of the aircraft. This aircraft can only carry that logo and livery because Delta is an official sponsor, not only of Team USA, but also of LA 28. Have a look at that. That is sensational. That is just beautiful pictures of that. And you can see the palm trees representing the 3 different Olympics that LA, very unique in hosting Olympics 3 times. Did you know that Los Angeles has more professional sporting teams than any other city in the US? It also means it's got lots of great venues, which is why the Olympics are so easy to host in that city.
Perfect city to host it. And as we said, very proud sponsors because of the correlations that it has with Delta Airlines. It's going to be a very special occasion. And of course, then looking forward to Brisbane 4 years after and hosting the Olympics right here.
Yeah, so this is almost like a baton transfer. Just LA 28 saying g'day to Brisbane 2032. And a really powerful reminder, we have not seen a logo this big related to the Olympics in Brisbane ever. This is a flying billboard, right? This is like an ambassador for the LA 28 Olympics. Hello to everybody. I should mention, I haven't mentioned it, in Los Angeles right now, there is a watch party taking place in a bar near LAX Airport. There are Delta staff, there are people from LA 28, there are aviation travel enthusiasts. G'day to all the people enjoying great drink and great food at that event, and they've gone there to watch this live stream. Now, they could have watched it anywhere. Just pointing out, 738 likes. We're on the way to 900.
Nearly there.
More than 2,000 people watching the show right now. That's going up every second as we speak, because we ain't done yet, folks. We're going to travel with this aircraft all the way down. We're going to see it docking. We're going to see the doors open up. We're going to see that didgeridoo welcome. We're going to see the passengers come off. And we are also hoping, fingers crossed, to talk to a very special VIP passenger who's on board that aircraft. So we aren't done yet. So get sharing, guys. Get liking. And really, if you've just had a flight across the Pacific, let's check that. I should hit stop on the stopwatch because I didn't do that before. Okay, so let's hit it now. 13 hours 58. Let's go back 3 minutes. 13 hours 55, we'll call it. 13 hours 55 for that inaugural flight across the Pacific. And these folks are about to start enjoying their Queensland holiday.
Absolutely. I think a lot of viewers are going to be jealous of that fact because it's absolutely stunning here and everything that they can do in this area. And then there's another group who are getting very excited to board that same aircraft and make their journey into the U.S. Or maybe even staying in Los Angeles.
Now, I don't know if you realize that plane is over our shoulder. We're just taking a quick selfie here with the plane behind us. Pretty good view from the commentary position, but you're getting an even better view out there. Let's do that photo again. You can see there, it's right behind us. Liz, here we go. A moment in history, right?
Absolutely
306 seats on this plane.
306, 80 of those are premium seats. Yeah, a little bit of something for everybody. And for those of them going to Los Angeles, they can connect on to 40 unique markets across the U.S. and North America.
Absolutely fabulous. At the moment, these passengers will be stepping off into temperatures 26 degrees actual temperature here. It feels a lot warmer because of the humidity. We are 6 days into Brisbane summer. That in Fahrenheit is 79.
And that's why you have a weather presenter from a local TV network joining you for your live stream, right?
We could have ordered up a rainbow, but that might have been just a bit too much, right? Because everything else is perfect here, but absolutely stunning.
The colours on this aircraft are really unique, aren't they?
Yeah.
Really nice, really nice. And I guess it costs a lot of money to paint an aircraft in a special livery, but the value you get, because there's just so much more interest attached to it, isn't there?
Absolutely. It's so special. You know, folks follow these aircraft all around. The special livery makes up for its value and what it brings, right?
And a quick shout out, this livery was designed by Kelly Fitzgerald. She's a designer with Delta Airlines. These are her words, and I want to quote her. She says, the inspiration of this was honestly Los Angeles itself. You'll see a nice sunset gradient, and that uses the Olympic gold, the Delta red, the Delta blue, and that pulls it all together, as well as the palm trees, each representing the Olympic and Paralympic Games held in Los Angeles. They're the words of Kelly Fitzgerald.
Absolutely
A
incredible.
big shout out to her and her team. Any other shout outs we need to get away because we're going to lose you soon that you want to say?
We always want to special thanks to Brisbane Airport, Queensland Government, Queensland Tourism. Without their incredible support and LAX, this flight wouldn't be a reality. We want to do that special thanks.
I think we had a wave from the pilot, by the way, a
There we
really
go.
close-up shot of the pilots.
Awesome.
How cool is that? Because they know we're live streaming, right?
Absolutely, they do. Everyone knows. It's on our internal channels as well. So a lot of folks at Delta are watching. Across our 100,000 employees, we've got quite a few watching right now. Yeah.
So that is important. So Queensland Government established an attracting aviation investment fund coming out of COVID. Queensland is a tourism-based economy, and so the idea was, you've told us it costs millions to launch a flight. Let's help with some of the marketing costs. So when a flight starts, it gets that promotional kick, and that will help it stick, right? So we do need to recognise the Queensland Government's their assistance. We'll head to a media conference shortly after this. We'll hear from the airport. We'll hear from the Tourism Minister. We'll also hear from the US Consul General, Christine Elder, who's flown up from Sydney. She is a passionate advocate for how these aircraft build links and bridges between our two countries. This is not just a new route. This is a link between two nations.
Absolutely, and it's symbolic of the mission we were talking about before of Delta Airlines, which is no one better connects the world, right? And beyond just a point-to-point flying an aircraft from A to B, it's bringing all the people, the cultures, and those values together, and we think that's what's going to make a better world for everybody.
We got a nice
there she
shot
is.
of the LA-28. That is so
Beautiful.
good. Isn't that looking stunning? It is actually passing us right now. We're getting a couple of photos out of that aircraft. Jeff, let's get a photo right here.
There we go.
Yeah, sharing this moment. Thank you, Liz, for the socials.
Hang on, one more photo, because that was a video.
All right.
Oh, that's incredible, guys. It's one thing as well to see this aircraft on our screens, but to look over your shoulder, Pete, and see its colours in all its glory to the backdrop of Brisbane Airport is so special. Behind us, what you can't see on the screens at the moment is a huge pack of photographers on the rooftop of Level 9 Brisbane Airport car park.
Absolutely.
You can see there the signage there on the Brisbane International Airport terminal. We're probably 2 minutes away. The aircraft has actually stopped outside the domestic terminal. I suggest that could mean there's a bit of some other aircraft making their way into the international terminal. But don't stress, guys. We have cameras,
Maybe
multiple
it's just
cameras.
like Winks the racehorse, and it likes to have a pause and a moment to take in the audience before it continues.
That's right.
Also, entertainment systems. If you are looking for a good movie to watch, Connecting to Australia, a great Australian story, Winks. The story of Winks. Brilliant film.
Cool. So that aircraft on the move again. Beautiful shot.
Echo Foxtrot 9 heading left 160, line up and waiting on my 1.
Fantastic. And look, 4 cameras. Have we got enough? Have we got enough there? Like, seriously?
We've got it captured now. Yeah.
Yeah,
It's
well
like the
done,
Matrix
Pete,
view
to you
around
and your...
there,
Pete, I have to say well done to you and your crew. The setup late into the hours last night. I think you've had, what, 2 hours sleep? 3
Yeah,
hours
2
sleep?
hours. Just pointing it to there, 850 likes, 6 likes. We wanted to get to 900 by the time it gets to the gate. I reckon we've got about 120 seconds to do that.
I reckon.
We surely got to get to 900. If you haven't hit that like button already, do it now. We got to 350, now we're going for 900.
Now, I'm no expert, but from what I saw, that was an 11 out of 10 landing.
Yes,
Would you agree?
Absolutely. It was perfect. Yes.
lot of pressure on, right?
A lot of pressure on. Yeah, you have to get this one right. I think they know there's quite a few people watching this one.
And a special pilot on this flight, of course.
Absolutely.
You told the story of.
Yeah, the retiring pilot on the outbound leg. So he would be getting ready in the terminal right now. He'd be accessing his weather, checking his route information, getting everything together, because basically as one pilot crew jumps off, the next pilot will get in and start doing their checks. One of the things I love, Jeff, I find this so reassuring, is that the pilot does the walk around the aircraft. The man who's responsible for those people on board, he takes that final look around the aircraft. Your engineers are obviously all over it, but this is the pilot in charge saying, I'm happy to take this plane on the next route.
Absolutely, yeah. And I'm sure he's very much looking forward to this next one today. Yeah.
Jeff, question for you. Was this the aircraft that brought Team USA from Paris to LAX?
Yes, I'm pretty sure it was, yeah.
It absolutely was. And moreover, it had, they're very precious cargo, but it had some other special cargo on board. So when the Olympic Games finished in Paris, and I've been to multiple Olympic Games through my role in Channel 7, the Olympic flag is lowered at the end of the ceremony, at the closing ceremony, and the flag is passed to someone, usually the mayor from the city or a leader from the next host city. It's passed to them, and then that Olympic flag goes on a journey to the next host city. So this was the aircraft that brought the flag to Los Angeles. It was the first time. Look at that shot as we move around in front of it. Such a dynamic look at that aircraft. We're literally right in front of it. So that flag travelled on that aircraft. When it got to the United States, you guys hosted a hangar party, a special ceremony. There were athletes, and that flag carries power, right? It's the symbol, it's the emblem of the games. It's hoisted in LA, and the cool thing is, it'll be travelling on a plane in a few years' time down under to Brisbane to enable us to kickstart our Olympic Games.
Amazing.
Joining us online, people from Croatia, Antarctica, America, Syria, Ireland, Germany, Slovakia. Thank you so much for all your comments, your questions, your company this morning.
Absolutely incredible. Well, Peter and Liz, soon we're going to have to depart. We're going to try to meet these customers as they're coming
I'm
out
going to let you go.
aircraft. Yeah.
We've had a ball. That's the only reason we've held it, because we've had so much fun. We'll bring this plane home. You get cracking, because I know you've got VIPs to meet. We're going to hopefully meet one of those VIPs and interview them shortly. Thanks, Jeff,
so much,
for
Peter.
bringing us, coming with
and
us.
your knowledge. We really appreciate.
No, it's been an absolute honor to be here. What a fun day. What an incredibly exciting day. And thanks for putting this on. It's really great.
Glad
and when you
share
need that itinerary for your holiday in Queensland, you know who to
We'll
come
be calling.
to.
Yes.
Yeah, okay.
Very good.
See you, Jeff.
Pete, congratulations to your team. Those landing shots were absolutely spectacular. A lot of preparation and effort has gone into this stream today. Are you happy, Pete? You ran on 2 hours sleep last night. Is this what you imagined sharing with viewers?
Yeah, and I'm happy because one thing for us to experience it, but we are giving people a front row seat. And I know that sounds cliche, but honestly, how else in the world do you get this close to an aircraft, this sort of access, and also not access just to the aircraft, but to the stories behind it? And what I loved about Jeff, he was very transparent and honest, and was able to give us the inside word on how Delta came to bring this flight to Brisbane. Now, we're coming up to a crucial moment here. Yes, 994. We are very close to docking on the runway, so we've got this from multiple angles, and we're looking forward to the shot of it coming onto Brisbane International Airport. It will be gate number 80. The reason it's gate number 80 is because it's right under our Brisbane International sign, so it's the best
Well done,
photos,
Brisbane.
right?
Well done.
And so, so that we can get those pictures, you can see that aircraft being marshalled. It's about to start its turn onto the bay, and watch this monitor. A really, really special moment.
Mick Gallagher joins us online. A few people asking about the water salute. Here in Brisbane, water very precious. Queensland is in drought. Many areas such as Rockhampton, Queensland are still in drought. So we're very conscious of our water usage here. We have a welcome to country as these passengers step off the plane.
Yeah, a didgeridoo player who we met earlier, and we'll hear and see that So there you go, coming on to gate number 80 at Brisbane International Airport. The airport scene and the show bluey. The airport that is the gateway for so many parts, so many passengers into Queensland. We've hit 1,000 likes. Thanks, guys. Just as it touches.
350.
Yeah, we were hoping for 350. But have a look at these shots. You can see the aircraft being marshalled safely in position at gate number 80. And this is a team. Look, there's a palm tree. Have you seen that? There's a palm tree right next to the terminal, and there are 3 palm trees on the. You know what? I've never noticed that palm tree before.
We'll get a shot.
Yeah, we'll get a shot of it in a minute. But can I just tell you, this camera right now is on the Aero Bridge. You have never seen a view like this in a live stream before, and that in a moment you'll see the doors open. You'll see the process to get the passengers off this aircraft. So we aren't done yet. We're going to stay on a little bit longer. Hit like if you'd like us to stay around for a bit longer. But you can see there the aircraft. And if the camera guys just pan slightly to the right, Chris, you will see there is a palm tree just to the right and one in front of the aircraft. I've never noticed that before. So,
and the significance is the 3 palm trees on the Delta plane, symbolising the 3 Olympic Games that Los Angeles has been involved with.
Absolutely. And as Jeff mentioned, the moment this aircraft docks, there'll be that feverish activity, that synchronised activity around the aircraft. You can see they're putting the chocks under the wheels there. That synchronised activity to get all the cargo and freight and luggage off the aircraft, and then transitioning in to get all the new passengers on board. They've already checked in. They were here a couple of hours ago, and their luggage will go on board. And also those exports will be loaded. We know fresh Queensland beef. That'll be on dinner plates in LA tomorrow night. We know fresh seafood.
From the Sunshine Coast, Queensland.
Yeah, and mangoes from
Bowen, Queensland.
Yeah, so we're serving up Queensland on a plate. How cool. And that will be in the US in 14 or 15 hours' time. And thanks to Delta's distribution network, if it needs to get to New York, if it needs to get to Dallas, if it needs to get to anywhere in the US, that can happen. And that's why this freight is crucial, not just to bring tourists in, but to take exports out in the belly of the aircraft.
So 13.55 was the travel time from LAX to Brisbane today. Joining us online, we have had people from Norway, Poland, Colombia, Croatia, Antarctica, America, Syria, Ireland, Germany. That is just to name a few. Thank you so much for being part of this moment for Brisbane International Airport.
A question, will BNE do the live stream for the takeoff? We won't, and I'll tell you why. The moment we're finished here, lots of our team, including myself, are part of the ceremony that will take place after this, the official ceremony where local officials from the Queensland Government, from Delta, from Brisbane Airport, from Queensland Tourism, and also our other partners will come together to celebrate this aircraft and to really thank Delta for bringing this new route to Brisbane for us.
Bob Brown online says he is an American tourist or thinks American tourists will be heading here also to visit the Gold Coast for a vacay. If you want any tips on what to do on the Gold Coast, you can reach out to me online. I'm happy to write you an itinerary. I call the Gold Coast home. I grew up on the Sunshine Coast and I went to school and work in Brisbane. So
you might regret that if you have 2,000 people asking for a personal itinerary.
I'm very passionate about giving itineraries for things to do in Queensland.
Okay, so they can get you on Instagram at Liz Cantor.
Thanks for the stitch up, Pete.
Yeah, Runway-Cam there, just passing behind the aircraft. You can see there the equipment moving into place. And look, on the bottom left-hand screen, there is Runway-Cam. We've had lots of requests from that. You can see the gimbal camera mounted on top of the camera, on top of the car.
The value of this camera, Pete?
$500,000. So we have bolted it on very securely, may I say. But the beauty of it is it gives this beautiful floating, drifting view. And look at the shiny blue paint on that in the Queensland sun. Seriously, a perfect Queensland day.
Absolutely. Light winds. We've got a light onshore breeze coming up later this afternoon. Top temperatures around 29 degrees Fahrenheit. That is, well, at the moment it's 26 degrees here in Brisbane, 79 Fahrenheit. But that's the actual temperature. It feels a lot warmer because of the high humidity. We are 6 days into summer here in Brisbane.
And of course, for us, summer is heat. So Christmas, there's no white Christmas here. It's a hot, sweaty Christmas day down by the beach.
Absolutely. It's a saltwater crusted feeling of being in the ocean for most of the day to keep cool.
Okay, so to recap, we're at DL93 has touched down in Brisbane, that first inaugural flight from Delta Airlines. The final preps are happening on the bay, and shortly, and we'll bring you these pictures, they'll open the doors, the passengers will start getting off. Waiting for them are some special gifts. And you can see that's the shot in your lower left-hand box right now. That's from our cameraman who's in the Aero Bridge, and we thank you to the staff of Donata and Brisbane Airport who have allowed us this access in there. That's where we'll see those passengers come off. We also hope to have a quick discussion with a very fascinating VIP who's on this flight, and they'll get those passengers from here straight into the terminal. They need to clear customs, border, all that sort of process. And this is a very busy arrival time at the international terminal, so we see lots of our flights arrive in a 2 or 3 hour window around this time, and then they'll be on to their holiday. And that's the exciting thing, right? This is a gateway, and some will transfer to the domestic terminal because there are other destinations in Queensland and Australia that they can get to via Brisbane Airport.
Pete, Brisbane Airport is home to you. Have you had a moment to digest that you have a Delta aircraft sitting on your tarmac?
Look, it's any time we get a new airline here is exciting because it opens up a new connection. Even if we've already got that route, this is a new connection through the millions of people who only travel Delta, right? So that's what this does. You can see there the crew from Donata there. There they go. Thank you so much. Getting ready for the opening of that aircraft door. I don't think ever before have we had a live coverage of an aircraft door opening, but really this means those passengers can start to get off and to get on with their holiday. And what I really like is we're showing you the freight process because already those containers are coming off. So we've only been on the ground 5 or 10 minutes. Fantastic pictures from Chris out there on the runway as we see those Delta cargo boxes come off. And as Jeff explained to us, cargo is a very important part of the equation. So not only does it stack up from a leisure and business travel point of view, but is there the demand for goods to come into a country and out of a country? And right now, there is that demand because you're seeing the freight come off. That is a flipping great shot, I gotta tell you. Seriously, could we be any closer? Have a look at those logos there, LA28 on the side. Fantastic, Chris. Thank you so much for that access with that shot. And you can see into the aircraft there. They've taken that door's open, the cargo comes out, the new cargo's on, and Donata crew there waiting to do the first on board a flight, usually our biosecurity teams who do a check. That's a Donata staff there, you can tell by his badge. But here we go. Doors opening.
This is the moment, Pete.
This is the moment.
Welcome. These passengers, 13.55 hours in transit, and they are about to step into Brisbane International Airport.
Thankfully into air conditioning because they'll step straight into the air bridge. They won't be out on the tarmac because it's a little warm. I think, oh my goodness, I think we're actually on board the aircraft. I think we're on board the aircraft. You can see passengers there, and we'll let them do their business. We'll keep talking, but we were talking about how that freight connectivity is so important to getting people
JC
in.
Bravo. Do you know what you call a local area network in Australia? The Land Down Under.
Thank you, JC Bravo, for that joke. We don't mind that. Cool. And the audio you're hearing is actually on board the aircraft. So That's let's strike that as another first for a live stream. And you can see that first crew. They've just done their first flight to Brisbane. They've had a 14-hour flight.
I've never actually experienced as well the entry from that side of the aircraft.
First passenger off. Welcome to Australia. And let's give them a round of applause. Sensational moment. Sensational pictures. I got to say, they all look pretty happy. They look happy. A bit of a wave there for the cameras. And look, they know this is a special flight as well, because each of them, some of them will have booked just to say they were flying into history. They will have received their special certificate that says that they were on that inaugural flight. 306
passengers is the flight capacity.
Yep, and I'm not going to count them all, but there's a fair few on there. So that's a really good sign, because Queensland is a tourism state, and that's really important to see additional visitors coming into this country. And look, just quietly, and let's say it quietly, Americans are really good spenders. They love going to restaurants. They love going to the Great Barrier Reef. They love going to the Daintree, the Gold Coast. The Americans know how to travel, and they travel well. And so Queensland is very excited because it wants to grow that tourism market, because it means jobs, right? Every extra tourism enterprise in Queensland employs people, and a huge part of Queensland economy relies on tourists coming in, and you are seeing them one after another hopping off this flight as they arrive in Brisbane. Got the baseball cap on there, lots of good waves. There are so many happy people here.
Yeah, absolutely. It's wonderful to see. I wonder if they've rehearsed their g'days. G'day, mate. Welcome to the land down under.
Yeah, now I'm going to tell you about one passenger who's on this flight, and he's a very special passenger. So there's a board member from Delta Airlines. His name's Greg Creed, and he wanted to be on this flight. But here's the special thing. He was born in Brisbane. He's a Queenslander, so this is his hometown. And here's a little Aussie bloke who now sits on the board of one of the world's biggest airlines, and his airline gets to come to Brisbane. And so he was absolutely putting his hand up to be on that first flight. We're hoping to talk to him shortly and get his insight. But lots of people that got their backpacks, they are ready to go.
Lots of people in jumpers, you'll notice. Of course, when you travel, air conditioning a little bit cool. I imagine those jumpers will be coming off quick smart as they step into Brisbane City.
Absolutely. They are well rugged up, coming from the Northern Hemisphere, and very quickly. And looks, when people come to Brisbane, they're not just coming for Brisbane. That's something important to say. Brisbane is the gateway to the rest of the Queensland. So some head to the south, to the Sunshine Coast. We know many will go to Australia Zoo. That is hugely popular. The Irwin Zoo there on the Sunshine Coast. Americans love Steve Irwin's legacy, and the legacy the family continues.
Queenslanders love him too.
Yeah, absolutely. But, that's... He became big in America, I reckon, before he became big in Australia in terms of... so lots of people heading to Australia Zoo, and lots of people flying to connections like Cairns, Townsville, Rockhampton, Mackay as well. So they arrive in Brisbane, but they disperse across Queensland, including the outback as well.
Yes, Longreach is a must-see, especially if you're an aviation lover. That communication we're getting in our ears and in the stream at the moment, Pete, what would that be?
Yeah, so we, all the way through, people have been hearing air traffic control. You can't have an aviation live stream without air traffic control, and that's just been going on in the background. We haven't focused on it too much. We've been too busy talking, and I do apologise for that. But what I'm really looking for is just seeing all these passengers. Now, this is the walk they take. They're taking it down the Aero Bridge. It's air-conditioned. That's Michelle Garner on our left there, one of our team who's been helping us out this morning. Some waves from those kids. They'll head out there, and there they'll receive their gift bag from Delta. They'll receive their Delta Koala, plus a whole range of merchandise and an official certificate to say they were on this very first flight. So it's a special moment for them because, this is their start of their holiday.
Absolutely. And for some of these travellers, this could be their first time in Australia. Welcome. It's very exciting to have you here in Brisbane, and what a plane to arrive on. You're sharing the seats of some of the world's best athletes. Of course, the Dream Team, America's Olympic team, sat on this exact plane earlier in the year flying home from Paris.
Absolutely. And we can hear the didgeridoo. We're going to pause because we're going to experience this like the passengers experience it. So there you go. That's Jake Fabiliar. Now I should tell you, his brother actually works at the airport, so he has an airport connection. He joined us earlier in the stream to share how honoured he was that he would get to share this musical introduction. And we experienced too, that noise was coming at us, it was growing as we walked out of the plane and walked down the aero bridge. And he talked to us about that circular breathing where he's pulling the oxygen in through his nose and at the same time expelling it through the didgeridoo. Let's give him a round of applause. And I really liked how the passengers were shooting video. I don't know if you saw that. They were filming video as they were coming down the aero bridge there. And a great welcome, a very Australian traditional First Nations welcome as he stepped off the aircraft there. Folks, I'll let you know where we're going. It is 7:51 local time in Brisbane. If you're in Sydney, it's 8:51, and if you're in Los Angeles, it's sometime in the afternoon. We are going to wrap this stream in 9 minutes, so we're going to hang around until the top of the hour. That's because all the people who are tied up in this stream and bringing this stream to you are now going to be part of this official program. Look at the engine. Seriously, have a look at the size of that. I know the team from Airbus, Stephen Forshaw and his team were going to tune into this aircraft. You can see that magnificent engine there. Jeff spoke earlier about how new next generation aircraft are more fuel efficient, fewer emissions, they're also quieter, so you are seeing that up close. Look, Runway-Cam was good, but can I just tell you that Chris on this stabilised gimbal, who I can tell you is safely being escorted by a large team around him. And the important thing is, from a safety point of view, is everybody on that tarmac is aware that that camera is there and are interacting with it, so we've been really careful. Chris is waving. There you go. On the left hand, that is so cool. You can see Chris, Sarah White from my team. She's our head of marketing. She's guiding there, Chris around. And I've got to say, I've worked in TV for 30 years. We are not only showing you the shots, we are showing you how we're creating the shots.
Well, Pete, on that note, online, HZ73 says, if Brisbane Airport are doing this now, can't wait to see what they and their operations can dream up for the Olympics coverage. Now, Pete, we are so blessed because you have created this concept here, put it into fruition. You have worked on Olympics, so it's interesting that they've made that connection. Your prior role was with a network, a commercial network here, doing Olympics coverage.
And, Brisbane Airport takes this really seriously. This is what it boils down to. When the Olympics arrive, Brisbane Airport is the first hello and the last goodbye. So for athletes, media, visitors, officials, the Olympic Committee, everybody who will come here, the first hello, the first impression of Brisbane 2032 is us. The last impression is us. You know what that means? We can't screw this up. We have to get it right, right? So seriously, we have to get this absolutely spot on, because we know we play a really important role in delivering the Olympics for Queensland and for Australia. This is a global event. We've seen that today with the arrival of the LA 28 plane. So it really falls on us to get it right. And we are learning. We've had learnings from Paris. We have been talking to the LA 28 team about their learnings in Los Angeles. We will be on the ground in Los Angeles to learn from them so we can come back and deliver the perfect games experience. What we know is that people will arrive in dribs and drabs over weeks because the athletes will come in, and then the closing ceremony happens and they all want to leave on the same day. So that's going to be very interesting. Now, I am very excited through the wonders of technology. We are about to cross and have a chat to one of the passengers who was on DL93. I hope he's not too jet lagged. He's a very special person. Hello, Greg Creed. Can you hear us?
I can hear you. How are you?
Excellent. Now, that's an Australian accent. How the heck is an Australian born in Brisbane on the board of Delta Airlines, one of the world's biggest airlines?
You can only be that lucky, right? So a proud Brisbane boy, a proud Queenslander, and a proud Delta board member. So it's just wonderful to be here on the inaugural flight. It was a great flight. Everything went fantastically well, and the weather here is beautiful. I mean, how does life get much better than this?
Tell us about the flight. What was the vibe on board? What was the touchdown? It looked pretty smooth to us, I got to say.
Yeah, the vibe on board was really good. When we left LA, they had pies, Anzac biscuits, Tim Tams. So they went all out when we left LA, and that was fantastic. And it was a really, just a perfect landing, just a, butter landing. I think my wife was back in Dallas watching the live feed, and said, well, it was a perfect landing. So I spoke to the pilot, the captain, and I said to him, my wife says it was a 10 out of 10 landing.
Well, that was the score we gave as well.
It was actually 11 out of 10
We gave it 11. Hey, you better give your wife and your family a shout out right now before we go any further.
Okay, I want to say hello to my wife Carolyn and our friend, she's with Jan, and then all my family, all Australians, but now living in Dallas.
Greg, a big question. Did you watch any entertainment on the flight? Any movie recommendations?
Yep. Yes, I watched Ford versus Holden. I did not know about this story. I mean, I didn't know there was a movie about it. So it was great to go back. I was born in the late 50s. Was in high school, university in the 70s. So it was like going down memory lane watching Ford versus Holden on the trip over.
Now, I'd love to hear from you. We did ask Jeff Mumar, why has Delta chosen to come to Brisbane? Why Brisbane? Why add this city to the network? And as a person who was born here, you can help unpack why one of the world's biggest airlines is coming here now.
Well, first of all, Brisbane's a great city. I mean, I know I'm biased because I was born here and grew up here, but it's a great city. I think it was also symbolic. If you saw the plane that we flew on today, it was the LA 28 plane, because obviously LA is going to hand the Olympics in 32 off to Brisbane. And so Ed Bastian, who is the CEO of Delta, I had a chat with him and we organised to have this symbolic plane as well. But I think also Brisbane's a great gateway versus Sydney. If you all fly into Sydney, everyone's trying to land at 6 o'clock in the morning. It can be a nightmare. I was telling the crew all about the Sunshine Coast and the Gold Coast and how you can access up to the Barrier Reef. So I think Brisbane's a great city in itself, cosmopolitan, vibrant, great food, great vibe. And I think it's just a new and interesting way to enter into Australia.
How proud do you feel as someone born in this city who now leads this company that you were on board that flight that came in?
I am incredibly proud. This is a very special day for a boy who was born at Royal Brisbane Hospital. I went to Upper Mount Gravatt Primary School, McGregor State High School, Queensland University of Technology. This is a very proud day for me. As a board member of Delta, I'm incredibly proud to be on the board of Delta Airlines. It is a world-class airline in every respect. And so for me to come back to my hometown on the inaugural flight.
And we just lost him there, but I think we got the vibe. This is a man who is very proud. Let us know if he comes back, but he is so incredibly proud of you. Have you got us? Yeah. So tell me, what have you got in store for you? What are you going to do now you're here in Brisbane?
Well, I'm going to go and see my brother-in-law and sister-in-law and nieces and nephews who live in Brisbane. But I'm also, it's very special, I'm going to go down to the Gold Coast to see my 92-year-old mum who lives on the Gold Coast. So very excited to see my mum and very excited to see my brother-in-law, sister-in-law, nieces and nephews.
And how often do you come back to Brizzy?
I'm back here 3 times a year. I'm retired now, so and obviously invariably, normally I've had to fly into Sydney, right, with Delta. I've always flown into Sydney, then I've got to fly up to Brisbane. This makes it so much more convenient for people like myself. But what was interesting, there were people on the flight that are going to fly to Melbourne. So they found this more convenient to come to Brisbane to fly to Melbourne than to actually fly to Sydney to fly onward to other places. So I think this is going to be incredible for Brisbane, it's incredible for Delta, and as I said, I'm really proud to have been on the inaugural flight.
Well, congratulations. We are so delighted to have been able to talk to you and hear from on board. Is there any shout outs in anyone in the Delta team throughout the world you want to give? And then we better let you go and go through security.
I know, I was just thinking, I've got to get my bag. The crew were amazing, but they're always amazing. And by the way, the crew did not know I'm a board member on the flight. So they're very excited about adding Brisbane to our network and very excited to be on the inaugural flight as well. They're looking forward to a couple of days in Brizzy before they head back to the States. And you're right, I probably better go clear customs, otherwise I'll be stuck here and won't be able to get through.
There you go, you heard it first. It was an episode of Undercover Boss. They didn't know the board member was on board the aircraft. Final question, of course, do you have anything to declare? Any nuts, fruits, vegetables, any items that you need to declare?
No, as an Australian, I know absolutely to wear clean shoes, no nuts, no fruit, no vegetables, no anything. The good news is, I did get Delta with added Vegemite to the menu. So when you fly Delta, you will get Vegemite on your meal tray,
are you
which is pretty
serious?
exciting.
You got Vegemite added to the menu for this route?
Yes, we did. There was Vegemite on the flight today, absolutely.
Cool.
You heard it here first.
We are going to let you go. We don't want to hold you up. We'll see you at the media conference in about 10 or 15 minutes. Thank you very much for joining us.
Yes. My absolute pleasure, and as I said, I'm really happy to be home, and I'm really proud of what today is for both Brisbane, for Delta, and for everyone. So it's a wonderful
Excellent.
day.
Thank you for sharing it with us, but also with thousands of people around the world. This has been an honour and a privilege, and we'll let you go. How cool was that, Liz? Getting to talk to not just any passenger, but someone who was a board member and who had a big Australian accent because he was born in Brisbane. That is such a unique story, and we weren't aware of it until about 2 weeks ago when we were contacted to say, hey, did you know there's a board member and he's from Brisbane on board? And for us to be able to chat to him and get his insights, really interesting. And what's also interesting is that there have been so many people here watching today's flight. We've actually been joined here at our commentary position by just some of the people who've turned out to take photos. Who's the good talker out of your...
Were you happy with the shots you got? I'm going to ask the two guys with the big camera equipment, hold it up so they can all see.
I got some really good shots, and I got a pretty good video of it landing.
Highlight of the morning?
Probably the Delta. My brother and his friend are running around all over the car park trying to get their best shots.
And yourself, show us your equipment. What are you shooting with here?
Just a Nikon D7000, just a small old camera I got recently, but really enjoyable, shoots well, does the job.
And how often would you come to Brisbane Airport and shoot off this rooftop?
Generally like a couple of weeks, so once, twice a week I just come by sometimes. It generally does work out, post photos, enjoy it.
So fabulous, Pete. Oh, and we've spoken to you earlier today. Are you happy with how the morning went?
Yeah, it was really good. The landing, there was a bit of a float there, but it was really good.
He's a bit of a
Future
hard
pilot
marker.
here.
Future pilot, yeah, a bit of a float, but
Yeah,
look,
it did float quite a bit.
Now, what does float mean for those that aren't aviation experts like myself?
Float means instead of touching straight down, it kind of floats above the runway for a bit too long.
Oh,
there you go.
Very interesting.
The view on board from us was a 10 or 11 out of 10. Tougher markers here. But guys, we want to thank you. Thank you for being a part. And the cool thing is you'll be going home, you'll be uploading... Actually, I was going to say to social media accounts, but if you're under 16, that might not be possible with certain bans coming into place. Thanks for joining us, guys. And give everyone a big wave, and we'll let you go back to take some more photos. We are going to wrap up in about 60 seconds. So, few things. If you haven't hit like already, please do so. Hit the like button and let your like be part of this historic event. I want to give a big thank you out to our teams across the airport who've worked their backsides off to bring us those incredible pictures, and to the teams in both of those vehicles, in Runway-Cam and also our other car. Fantastic job. Couldn't have done this without you, and we couldn't have done it safely without you. So that's why we're so happy that we were able to do it and give people a front row seat. So a thank you to the Brisbane Airport team. I want to thank my sensational co-host. Thank you for joining us, Liz. Have you had fun?
Oh, it's been an absolute honour to be a part of this occasion, Pete. I've learnt so much from yourself. I've also learnt so much from those that have joined us online this morning and sharing their knowledge, their experiences, their stories, and your excitement in all your comments. The fact we came in here wanting 350 likes to honour this flight, and we've got 1,000 there. Thank you so much.
And if you're in Queensland, you can catch Liz with the weather live today from somewhere around Brisbane.
Yes, absolutely. I'm heading down to the Gold Coast, which is about an hour, 15-minute drive from Brisbane Airport, doing the weather cross on 10 News First from the Gold Coast this evening.
Cool. The final thank you is the most important thank you, and that is to you, the viewer. Thank you for giving up 2 hours of your time to share this morning's experience with you. We are honoured that you would give us that time. Thank you so much for joining us. We will do more live streams in the future, so make sure you sign up to our channel so you get an alert when that happens. But from now, it's us at Brisbane Airport signing off.
Well done, Pete.
Thank you.
Welcome to our world, where business thrives, people connect, and careers soar. This is the world of Brisbane Airport Corporation, powered by a diverse and talented team, committed to improving our airport and creating better experiences every day. We are forward-thinking, building spaces for businesses to call home, driving innovation, and taking on unique challenges. We expand horizons, introducing new airlines and destinations, while advancing sustainability, ensuring we grow responsibly and support our community. We are driven and determined because we're inspired by our workplace. We know our work has purpose and impact, as we are part of something that is much more than just an airport. That's what makes Brisbane Airport Corporation exceptional. We are a team with a culture of passion and commitment. Collaboration beats at the heart of everything we do. Communication fosters teamwork. Courage propels us forward. And care is our strong foundation.
Brisbane Airport has an exciting future, and our team is key to its success. For us, no 2 days are ever the same. The work we do is challenging, rewarding, and full of new and exciting opportunities to learn and grow. As an award-winning employer of choice, we know that it takes a real team effort to run a major airport, and we are proud to do it together as we connect the world and create the future.